genius computer scientist.
We just lost our best genius to some new genius who's got a genius new idea. I'm going to have to find a new genius, or two half geniuses, and fast.
He needs a computer scientist that can keep his startup from falling down.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. When you sponsor a job on Indeed, it's easier for talented candidates to find it, which makes it easier for you to hire them. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Are you curious about who offers the best deals on top-rated Samsung, LG, and Sony TVs? The answer is surprising. It's not online, and it's not the warehouse clubs. The best deals on top-rated TVs are at Video Only. Don't believe it? Then check out the trade-in deals at Video Only. How about $500 for your old TV? Try doing that online. Before you buy that new TV, drop into Video Only. If you don't, you'll be sorry.
We finally switched to T-Mobile because with them, we can be connected here and there.
¡Listos todos! Estas son las mañanas.
Now we just need to harmonize.
Switch today. Get 4 Samsung Galaxy S25 phones with Galaxy AI. Plus, get 4 lines for just $25 per line. Visit a store, T-Mobile.com, or call 1-800-T-Mobile. 1-800-T-Mobile. For well-qualified customers with autopay plus taxes and fees and $35 per line connection charge. Minimum 4 lines on plan. Contact us if canceling lines. Plus $5 per line without autopay. Debit or bank account required. Visit T-Mobile.com.
Save on protein at Whole Foods Market. Get 20% off Organic Rancher, organic 93% lean ground beef with Prime through August 19th. Try it on the grill as juicy smash burgers or tender kebabs. While supplies last, shop in-store or online. Terms apply.
If you owe $10,000 or more in credit card debt, medical bills, or personal loans, help is here. As Americans continue to pile up astounding credit card debt levels with high interest rates to make ends meet, debt relief is being made available through National Debt Relief that could reduce a significant portion of what you owe if you qualify. For many, continuing to struggle making minimum monthly payments could take 25 or more years to pay off. National Debt Relief has already helped over 550,000 Americans reduce their debt by negotiating directly with their creditors. When you call, you'll be amazed at how much you can save and how quickly you can become debt-free. If you want off the debt treadmill, call National Debt Relief today. You don't need to declare bankruptcy, and you may qualify for significant debt relief. Call the Relief Hotline now to check what savings you may qualify for. Dial 800-476-3131. 800-476-3131. That's 800-476-3131.
Your cold is coming. Your cold is coming. When you feel a cold coming, shorten it with Zicam, the #1 cold shortening brand.
Oh, no, not before my big trip.
The big trip you've been planning is coming up, and so is your cold. But Zicam can shorten your cold and get you back to planning sooner.
Thanks, Revere.
We really should keep Zicam in the house.
Shorten your cold with Zicam.
Take it from America's most revered messenger. Shorten your cold at the first sign with cold shortening products from Zicam, the #1 cold shortening brand. Available in stores or see where to buy at Zicam.com.
Gain a global perspective and specialized skills that many of today's top employers are seeking with an MBA from University of Maryland Global Campus. Study online and complete your degree in just 16 months for about $21K. Choose from MBA specializations in global business, marketing, HR, finance, and more. No application fee if you apply by September 3rd. Learn more at umgc.edu. That's umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chev.
If you're 55 or older and into that whole saving money thing, T-Mobile has an exclusive phone and internet bundle just for you. Right now, get 2 unlimited phone lines plus 5G home internet for just $30 each per month with autopay, plus taxes and fees. And with 5G home internet, setup is easy with just 1 cord and no technician needed, which is great if you're also into that whole keeping it simple thing. Switch now and experience the best mobile network in the U.S. Visit your local store to start saving. T-Mobile, it's better over here. Based on analysis by Ookla of Speed Test Intelligence data Q4 2024 to Q1 2025, Ookla trademarks used under license. Unlimited on our network. Customers on voice plan may notice speeds lower than other customers and further reduction if using more than 50 gigs a month due to data prioritization. Video streams and SD on this plan. Home internet pricing after $20 a monthly bill credit plus $5 per line without autopay. Debit or bank account required. See 5G device coverage and access details at T-Mobile.com.
Behind the line of scrimmage. I think that offense is catered to him and tailored to him, but year 2 is going to be a hell of a lot more difficult than year 1 was.
We are cross-country lockstep. AFC West bias, Ian. I am selling Bo Nix. Go out and do it again because it's Harbaugh year 2 in the AFC West, baby. Selling.
All right, another one from the same draft class, Drake May. Alex, are you buying or selling Drake May?
I'm going to buy. I think it's a phenomenal coach in Vrabel. It's the perfect guy to take care of one side of the football and grown man coach up a gunslinger like May. He's got the athleticism. They did a ton in the offseason. I think it could be May Day and move the Dolphins down your AFC East depth chart. They may finish last.
Well, the Dolphins are paper tigers anyway. They're doing that to themselves. But I would tell you that I am selling Drake May, and it's not because of Mike Vrabel. I had Mike for 6 years. I know him well, but it's not about Drake May or Mike Vrabel. It's about Josh McDaniels and how convoluted and complicated that offense is to run based on everybody that you've heard have experience with Josh McDaniels. So less about Drake May than it is about the play caller who has yet to prove himself anything without Tom Brady.
All right, this one's pretty decisive, but what do you guys think about Bryce Young, buying or selling? Buck, start with you.
I'm sneaky in on Bryce Young. It looked better than it should probably have looked down the stretch in Carolina, more optimistic than it should down the stretch in Carolina. And I think Dave Canales has worked wonders before. Now he's got a bit of a diminutive quarterback and not a lot to work with, but the offensive line seems to be playing well. Whether the quarterback can see over the offensive line is yet to be determined, but I'll go ahead and buy on Bryce Young.
I'm going to sell, boys. I hate to be a 5'10 man hating on another 5'10 man, but I need, again, like Bo Nix, to see it. A lot of cozy time over there in Carolina to get it right. A lot of pressure with Penix, too, coming out in the NFC South. I'm selling Bryce Young. I'm sorry. I'm off it.
Short Kings unite. Look at that. The 5'10.
Or the opposite. They don't unite.
No, either way.
All right, anyway, Sam Darnold. What do we think, Alex? Buying or selling Sam Darnold on the Seahawks?
I'm going to buy. I like Sam 2.0. I like the weapons up there. He's playing with some zest. I like the confidence. Sammy 2.0 out of SoCal, baby.
No, I'm going to sell that hard. That Seahawks offensive line was god-awful. Sam Darnold is probably going to be a sitting duck, and especially without DK Metcalf, man, that's asking for trouble. We're speaking of asking for trouble, the Michigan Wolverines. We're going to talk about it next on Fox Sports Radio.
We are Fox Sports. Let's go.
You're still glowing, flirting, grooving. You still got it. But your immune system weakens as you age, making it harder to fight flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, and COVID-19. Vaccines are a key part of any health routine and help strengthen your immune response. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. Schedule in minutes at VaxAssist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Unlock the potential of your trading journey with TradeHTF.com today. Whether you're a seasoned trader or just starting out, TradeHTF.com offers the tools you need to navigate the markets. Access $25,000 in trading capital today for less than a $100 one-time fee. Prove to TradeHTF.com you can trade, and you will have the opportunity to have cold hard cash deposited to your bank. Sign up today by visiting TradeHTF.com. Always trade within your means and never risk more than you can afford to lose. TradeHTF makes no guarantees of profit.
FS1.
Call your friends and ask how they do it.
To find FS1 on your television, go to foxsports.com for details.
Boom. Trust your eyes.
FS1.
This is
The Herd. When Colin Cowherd drops the info, The Herd, you need to listen.
everybody listen up.
We all know that Sean McVay could not make Jared Goff fast. Or Kyle Shanahan may have made Matt Ryan an MVP, but he couldn't make him a great athlete. But when we see these great talents, we think, wow, you can solve their problems. When you're a great athlete like Caleb Williams, there's some things that come easy and you really never develop them, right? Like I always said, there's very few supermodels, male or female, that have been neurosurgeons. They don't have to be, right? So I look at Caleb, and this is the part that I'm very optimistic. Last year, with two different head coaches and two different play callers, a total circus, and an egregiously bad offensive line, here were the numbers. 62.5% completion percentage, 88 passer rating, 20 touchdowns, 6 picks. Those are not terrible. If he just improved just with Ben Johnson, very, very a luxury offensive mind and a very big upgrade on the offensive line. If he just improved 15% Look at the numbers. He's a Pro Bowler. 71% completion percentage, 23 touchdowns, only 5 picks, and a 101 passer rating. You would be a Pro Bowler. 15%. Now, 15% is a huge return in the stock market on an annual basis. But 15% tweaking, that's kind of what McVay did to Jared Goff. He really, if you go look at the Goff numbers.
If you're eager to find out what Colin said next, just podcast it by searching The Herd. And as always, you can listen live to Colin Cowherd weekdays at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific on Fox Sports Radio. This is The Herd.
Wow, 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 wow.
With Colin Cowherd.
People think I'm picking on the Pittsburgh Steelers, but every even Hall of Fame coach has a little bit of a hole. We saw it with Bill Belichick. He started taking over the drafts, and the last 7 New England Patriot drafts where Belichick had ultimate control, sitting with his dog in that Nantucket table making picks. They were awful. Bill had a hole in his game, and his hole was he was not good at drafting. Mike Tomlin has a hole too, and I hope he's aware of it. But Mike Tomlin is talking about the Steeler defense. He said, this thing is going to be historic. It's really hard to be a historic defense when you can't sustain drives offensively. And this, to me, is the hole in Tomlin's game.
This is The Herd with Colin Cowherd.
Wow.
Weekdays at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. It's Jason Smith.
Oh, you're that bloke on the radio.
It's Mike Harmon.
Ta-da! I'm kind of a big deal.
And they talk sports.
The one person that this playoff is not fun for is my wife.
Amongst other things.
I had an incredibly long dream about Jerry Jones last night.
Really?
Did I mention they're best friends?
You're hateful, and I'm positive.
It's the Jason Smith Show with Mike Harmon.
Bang.
Weeknights at 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific on Fox Sports Radio.
Yeah!
The most fearless voice in sports is on FS1. The one and only Colin Cowherd is bold, unique, and outspoken.
Wow.
You can see him on The Herd, weekdays at noon Eastern on FS1 in the Fox Sports app.
You're listening to 95.7 The Game, KFMZ-FM in HD1 San Francisco, on Odyssey Sports Station. Always live on the free Odyssey app, Twitch, and YouTube. Powered by First NorCal Credit Union.
49ers, Jake Moody tied the game late. It is 19 apiece in preseason game 2. Raiders trying to avoid going 0-2. Raiders rookie Ashton Genty had 7 carries for 33 yards and a touchdown. Browns earlier defeat the Eagles 22-13. Cleveland quarterback Dylan Gabriel with a 13 of 18, 143-yard day. Meanwhile, Eagles rookie quarterback Kyle McCord with a pick 6 to KJ Henry. Panthers second-round pick linebacker Nick Scourton is now week-to-week after apparently suffering a collapsed lung in Thursday's practice. Panthers went 20-3 against the Texans in preseason with a big goose egg from Bryce Young in passing yards. Dolphins and Lions, a game-ending interception for Detroit quarterback Hendon Hooker. Miami takes this one 24-17. Mets, who have lost 14 of their last 16, can now add a win to the trophy case as they defeat the Mariners 3-1. I'm Chris Perfett.
This is Fox Sports Saturday. Fox Sports Saturday is on. The plays, the interviews, the players, the coaches, the breaking news, the top stories. When it goes down, we will cover it all.
You better step up and get in control.
Live from the Fox Sports Radio studios.
Yeah.
Fox Sports Saturday is right now.
Cheaters never prosper unless you're the Michigan Wolverines. On Friday, the NCAA levied a significant penalty against the Michigan football program relating to the sign-stealing scandal that dates back 2 years ago. Not 1 year ago, 2 years ago it took the NCAA to figure this situation out. But does it actually hurt Michigan the way that it needs to hurt Michigan? It's a Fox Sports Saturday. He's Alex Monaco sitting in for Jason Fitz. I'm Buck Rising hanging out here with you. We got the rest of the crew, Ian and Mary Mack, holding it down in L.A. Alex, I love college football. It's my favorite sport, even though I'm an NFL reporter. I just get...
Live from downtown San Francisco, this is 95.7 The Game.
Wow. What a thrilling preseason game. Did the Niners just win that at the buzzer with the Jake Moody 59-yard field goal attempt? Did I just watch that? Welcome into Overtime, a preseason Week 2 edition of Overtime here on 95.7 The Game. Mark Randy, Sterling Bennett with you. Sterling, that might be the best preseason game in the history of the NFL. What did we just watch?
We watched Jake Moody finally break out of the shell. 5 for 6 today. A game-winning near 60-yard field goal in Allegiant Stadium. It was shaky at times for Jake Moody, but what a big bounce back for him. The game-tying field goal, maybe a minute and a half later, the game-winning field goal. What a great ending of preseason Week 2, not just for the San Francisco 49ers, but also for maybe the biggest question mark on the roster, that being kicker Jake Moody.
Wow. I mean, an amazing finish to this game. It felt like for a while the Niners were going to lose. Then they drive down. They get a 4th and 8 conversion from Carter Bradley to Jake Tonjes to keep the drive alive, keep the game alive. They eventually get down and kick a 44-yard field goal made by Jake Moody with like 40 seconds left to tie the game. And then the Raiders, with 3 timeouts, they have a chance to go down and kick a field goal to walk off winners themselves. Sack by Chase Lucas. Then another sack, and Chase Lucas was one of the stars again today. We'll talk about him. Another sack, and then an interception by Jalen Mahoney returns it to the Vegas 41. Niners get a couple of yards, and then Jake Moody, as time expires, a 59-yard field goal attempt. Sterling, in the preseason, wins and losses do not matter all that much, and we're going to focus so much more on individual performances and injuries, unfortunately. We're going to talk a lot about that today. We're with you until 6 o'clock. So wins and losses, if you're 3-0 in the preseason, 0-3 doesn't really matter all that much. But this is the team, Sterling, and the Niners that has dealt with so much already. This has to feel good, and this has to kind of catapult them at least into a happy week, because things were kind of drifting towards desperate territory with all these injuries that had been mounting up. So this feel-good moment for them, there's no way it could do any harm to the Niners team.
Well, you lose Dominic Pooney early in the first drive of the game. You lose 2 running backs before halftime begins, and we're all saying, who else is on the roster to run the football? Is Kyle Juszczyk going to have to play? They're going to toss CMC out there because they have to, and thankfully, they have guys like Jeff Wilson Jr., but we were looking for silver linings in what seemed to be kind of a dreadful trip out there to Vegas, but now you walk away feeling pretty good about yourself if you're San Francisco. Defense battled all day long. Your offense fought back. Carter Bradley didn't look unplayable.
Yeah, he actually looked pretty decent. Yeah.
I can tell the arm strength is there, albeit maybe because he's a Nepo baby, if you will, but good for him, forcing his way back out there, surviving the Tanner Mordecai train from a week and a half ago. Yep. But good job for Jake Moody, good job for San Francisco, and overall, a really good showing for a team that has 25-plus guys on the shelf right now. They're thin almost everywhere. And to see these guys battle, Chase Lucas playing the entire game once again, had a big sack on that last drive for the Raiders. It's an overall great game. You leave Las Vegas, come back to San Francisco, Santa Clara this week. No joint practices. Hopefully get healthy and gear up for your last game against the Chargers next weekend.
Yeah, so the final score is 22-19. The Niners win. They get a field goal with 37 seconds left, and then they get a field goal as time expires to win the game 22-19. Again, wins and losses do not matter all that much, but today was a big day, Sterling, just from the standpoint that we saw a number of familiar faces. Brock Purdy started this game, as did George Kittle, as did Ricky Pearsall, as did a majority of the expected Week 1 offensive line, although no Trent Williams and no Ben Barch. Trent Williams, a healthy scratch. Ben Barch dealing with an injury. He did not play today. Ben Barch is the expected starter at left guard, although not 100% certain, but it seems pretty likely at this point, assuming that he's healthy, he will be out there starting week 1. We did not see Fred Warner. We did not see Nick Bosa. No surprise, no injury-related things there, but we saw a lot of other defensive starters, including Diamador Lenore was out there. So there's a lot to take away from this game, Sterling, because it's the first time in a legitimate game competitive environment where we saw Brock Purdy and Ricky Pearsall since late last year, and that was early on in this game, Sterling. Takeaway number 1, because on Brock Purdy's first drive, his only drive, he goes 5 for 7, 66 yards, and he completed 3 of his 5 passes to Ricky Pearsall for 42 yards, 21 of which came on a 3rd and 18 conversion where Pearsall was right between like 4 Raider defenders, snuck in there perfectly. Purdy threw a dot, got the first down that led to the first drive of the first score of this game, a field goal by Jake Moody from 30 yards out. Red zone offense, still a little wonky all game long. We can talk about that as well. But before we even get to injury, Sterling, and some of the deeper stories, the guys battling to make the roster, it was just good to see Brock Purdy and Ricky Pearsall work really well together, like they've been throwing the ball to each other for years now.
We heard and have heard throughout the entire summer, Ricky Pearsall and Brock Purdy's chemistry is off the charts.
Yeah.
Every practice you're hearing about this play and that play of how great this tandem has looked. And with Brandon Ayuk probably not going to be back for, let's say, 6-ish weeks of the regular season, albeit he was out there today getting some nice reps in before the game started. We want to see what Pearsall can be. A first-round pick 2 years ago. Obviously didn't play much to begin last season for obvious reasons, but you saw small spurts of growth towards the end. And now coming into year 2, can he become a very vital part of your offense? Not because he's a first-round pick or because he had all this talent, because he has to be. He has to be a major factor in your offense this year. Be able to beat man coverage, lay in soft zones, and find some space against defenses. And today we saw, with George Kittle out there, with guys, like DeMarcus Robinson, guys they brought in during free agency, Ricky Pearsall was the shining star of that offense. Maybe that changes once Christian McCaffrey comes back, who knows, but a very nice start where we heard all about it. Now we get to see about it in preseason action today, and a very great first drive for this offense, mainly between Purdy and Pearsall. Again, 42 yards, 3 completions together, and just to see those guys, I guess you can say working together, yes, but also like seeing the field the same way. Pearsall sitting in soft zones and just working with the quarterback, working back to the quarterback at times too. That chemistry made Juwan Jennings nearly have 1,000 yards last year. That chemistry made Brandon Ayuk get paid $30 million a year. And we've seen what Brock Purdy and the offense can do, and having a guy like Pearsall out there on a weekly basis.
Yeah.
The sky's the limit for guys like that.
Yeah. Welcome in. It's overtime here on 95.7 The Game. Mark Randy and Sterling Bennett with you. If you want to weigh in, we got time for your calls and your texts all evening, afternoon long. We're with you until 6 o'clock here on 95.7 The Game. You can weigh in at 888-957-9570. Plus, I've got the YouTube chat up if you want to weigh in there. That's youtube.com/957 The Game. Everything we do on YouTube, powered by First NorCal Credit Union. I see you, Estimated Eyes. I see you, Theodore. I see you, Ken. I see you, Loco. I see you, Lori. Keep them coming on the YouTube chat. Great to have you here on a preseason Week 2 edition of Overtime on 95.7 The Game. Again, the Niners win 22-19. The final, they win in really thrilling fashion in a game that felt more like a regular season game down the stretch than it did a preseason game, considering how fired up a number of those players were in the fourth quarter. But yeah, Brock Purdy looked solid and smooth, and Ricky Pearsall looked awesome. I mean, just the eye test, Sterling, for Ricky Pearsall, he looked like a guy who has been doing that for a long time. Like, we saw some of this last year for Ricky Pearsall down towards the tail end of the season. My mind always immediately goes to that Monday night game versus the Lions, when the Lions kind of controlled that one and there was Jake Moody sloppiness. But the one thing that stood out in that game that was a positive was Ricky Pearsall and how good he was throughout with Brock Purdy. But because it hadn't happened terribly consistently, you're kind of uncertain if this was a legitimate connection that Purdy and Pearsall had developed, or if it was just a game where things were working. But considering everything we've seen and heard and read about them so far in training camp and in the preseason, and now what we got to see from them on the field today, this feels like, Sterling, even if Juwan Jennings is back and ready to go week 1 and the contract gets resolved, and even if George Kittle is healthy for the vast majority of this season, as, of course, the Niners hope, and even if Ayuk comes back, say, week 6, week 7, week 8, something like that, you feel like Pearsall is going to be one of the key cogs in this offense as long as he is healthy all season long.
You've heard fans the entire summer during the preseason seeing guys go down with injury after injury. Jordan Watkins, who had a big catch last week, he's out for what seems like the remainder of the preseason.
Yeah.
Jacob Cowan came back today, wasn't that big of a factor, but expecting big things from him in year number 2. You're not going to have Ayuk. You may not have Demarcus Robinson. Does seeing what Pearsall and Purdy put together today, 3 catches, 42 yards, a big 3rd and 18 conversion on their one drive together, does that kind of, I don't want to say limit, but does it kind of dampen your worry as to how bad the receiver room may be this season to begin the year?
I think for Pearsall, the question for Pearsall has always kind of been twofold. It's been, well, I don't quite know who he is as a player yet. I think that half of it I'm getting a little bit, I feel better about. And it's just a preseason game. It was 1 drive, but it looked really, really good. He just looked like a guy who's been doing this for 5 or 6 years. He just looked smooth and was in rhythm with his quarterback. So that, to me, is a little less of a concern at this moment. But with Pearsall, that's only been half the battle. The other half has been, is he on the field in the first place? And some of this has been, just bad luck. I mean, a lot of it is just bad luck. When you get hurt, it's not really out of your own
getting
control.
Shots, not good luck at all.
Yeah, that is on the extreme bad luck side. The soft tissue, hamstring, calf things like that's whatever. Not necessarily his fault on those either. But that's always been part of the story with Ricky Pearsall. So if you guarantee me Ricky Pearsall played in 15 out of 17 games this year, then to answer your question, my concern about the wide receiver room gets diminished. But if he plays 9 games this year out of 17, then no, I have the same exact concern that I've always had. I will say, but I mean, every one of these guys has a question mark. Demarcus Robinson, I think, has looked really good in the first 2 preseason games, but he might be suspended, likely going to be suspended for the first 3 or 4 games. Russell Gage, a veteran that Shanahan loves, brought in. They are familiar with each other from their time in Atlanta together. I mean, he's a veteran that I think Purdy can rely on. Like, they do have some options to turn to, but you're looking at, if things go poorly, you're looking at Ricky Pearsall as your wide receiver 1, and week number 1 in Seattle, Russell Gage might be a wide receiver 2. Like, that still doesn't sound great. And then Robbie Chosen would be your wide receiver 3. Like, that's not out of the question if Jawan calf still bothers him or contract isn't situated come week 1. Legitimately, the wide receiver room week 1 in Seattle versus a Mike McDonald defense that has always kind of given Shanahan some problems would be Pearsall, Gage, and Robbie Chosen. Like, that doesn't necessarily inspire a ton of confidence, Sterling.
No, but I think having Pearsall out there, while may not give you hope week 1, it may not give you the most hope in week 3 or 4 or 5, whatever it may be, against the Cardinals and the Rams and other teams in Jacksonville. But I think a lot of Niner fans view this as, how can you get us to a place where you're bridging the gap for the return of Brandon Ayuk, for the return of Juwan Jennings? And I think that maybe you get yourself in kind of scary territory thinking of it that way, because you got to be good week 1. You have 5 really important games to begin your year. A slow start kind of dooms where you want to go this year for San Francisco. But I think from the perspective of, can you bridge the gap to getting our all-pro wide receiver back week 6, week 10, whatever it may be for Ayuk, I think Pearsall in this summer, in his second training camp and preseason now, and even today in his 3 catches and 42 yards, has shown maybe not enough, but really close to enough to give me some more comfort that come week 1 against the Seahawks or come week 2 against the Saints, they can actually have a competent passing offense with George Kittle and Christian McCaffrey hopefully healthy as well. Yeah, Ricky Pearsall was really good in this game, and as a direct correlation to him, Brock Purdy, I thought, looked really smooth. There's this thing
in the preseason, Sterling. If you don't have one of the superstar quarterbacks, like you don't have a Mahomes, you don't have a Burrow, a Lamar, a Josh Allen, you don't have one of those guys. Maybe there's a couple of others you can throw in there. Like Stafford is the veteran who and he's not even practicing, so like that's an entirely different thing. Jimmy G might be the Rams quarterback this year. We shall see. When you don't have like that just absolute superstar quarterback or that quarterback that's been very solid for like a decade in the league, when you just don't see your starting quarterback play in the preseason, you always just tend to be like, well, we haven't seen Brock yet. Like, how good is Brock going to be? Brock played one drive, and I think if there's any Niner fan that had any concerns about Brock Purdy, like, is he on the level of Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen? Like, no one is saying that, but he was smooth as ever. The PA boot to the left, the blind boot action, just smooth. And Shanahan loves that play, and it was a Kubiak calling the plays today, not Shanahan, but they both love that play. It works to perfection. Purdy was putting perfect touch on his passes. I mean, just one drive for Brock, that's all I needed to see. He was great. He was smooth, putting the ball in the right spot, making the right reads, no dangerous throws at all. I thought Brock Purdy equally smooth as Ricky Pearsall today, Sterling.
Yeah, all the thoughts of $53 million a year, is it worth it? Now, it's preseason, so, who really cares?
Yeah.
But
still good to see. You needed to see it.
Exactly. And I think that's the thing of, like, fans, for most of them, have not seen Brock Purdy since last season, which didn't leave the best taste in their mouth. All they saw was he had a kind of a down year last year, albeit it wasn't as bad as people believe it to be.
Yeah.
Then you got paid a lot of money. Prove it to me. Now, again, a meaningless preseason game, which may mean some more because you're playing the Raiders, who used to be a rival, but to see Brock Purdy go out there and just almost be perfect, I think the Demarcus Robinson incompletion could have been a touchdown pass. Like, that drive was as close to perfect as you can be for Brock Purdy, utilizing his legs, showing that he has some spring in his step, and he can get out in the pocket and make some plays and buy some time, and again, have nearly like 5 to 4 perfect throws back to back to back. You saw last week, this offense scored 6.7 points, and that was it. They got outscored by the defense in the second, third, and fourth quarters last year. Not great. Or they go out today, they score some more points, but the offense today proved they can move the football against the Raiders' first team defense, look really good in the process, at least in the air. And for Purdy, I was a little worried about playing him behind not Trent Williams, playing him behind Spencer Burford after his performance against the Broncos, but that's why you like Purdy, because he has his legs, he can be mobile, create some plays, and buy time in the pocket, and obviously move you down the field at a very consistent rate. Whereas you look at Mac Jones and Carter Bradley, and even Geno Smith, where Brock clearly was the best quarterback on the field for his very short time out there, which he should be. He's better than Geno Smith. He's paid more than Geno Smith, and I think it showed today by a pretty wide margin in between the gridiron today.
We do have some news. We're going to hear from Kyle Shanahan coming up in a little bit later on. He's speaking to the media right now in Vegas. This comes courtesy of Niner insider Matt Mayoko for NBC Sports Bay Area. He's down there in Vegas covering the game, and we're going to hear this from Shanahan's mouth himself in just a little bit. But just to pass along this news now, Kyle Shanahan has said that Niners right guard Dominic Puni will be out, quote, a few weeks with a possible posterior cruciate ligament injury. So Dominic Puni started at right guard for the Niners today, one of the 3 offensive line starters, the expected week 1 starters that played, center, right guard, and right tackle, the right half of the offensive line played. Entirely healthy through the first drive that got the Niners into field goal range, and then he was on for the field goal unit, and he was just to the right, I believe, of the long snapper, and one of the guys, I don't know who it was, further to the right of him, kind of got blocked back into him and landed on his right leg, his right lower leg, and kind of it rolled up on him. The Niners pretty quickly called it a knee injury, and they very quickly ruled him out. Now, what gave me a little bit of confidence, Sterling, was that he was seen on the sideline in the second half, just sitting in street clothes, nothing on his knee, on his ankle, on anything, no protective wrap, no brace, nothing. He was just, his lower leg was naked, didn't seem like it was injured at all. But we do get this update now from Kyle Shanahan saying that Dominic Puni the starter at right guard will be out, quote, a few weeks with a possible posterior cruciate ligament injury. This is an interesting timeline, Sterling, because 3 weeks from tomorrow is game 1. So a few weeks, does that mean 3 weeks? Does it mean 4? Does it mean 2? We don't know. But this, at the very least, Sterling, would put week 1 in jeopardy for Dominic Puni.
Can I just say that they continue, despite all the injuries they have, to avoid the big one? Like, they've gotten lucky a lot so far, and I think, again, you see the growing number of guys on the shelf, and you start to get angry and upset and say, oh, it's last year all over again, it's 2020 all over again. But Micah Williams narrowly avoids an ACL injury, hyperextension.
Yep.
CJ West, same thing in joint practices on Thursday. And then today, what felt like Dominic Puni, this is over, season's over. Oh my goodness, like all the worst thoughts come into your mind. I know 3 weeks is a long time and he can miss week 1 against the Seahawks. I'm almost breathing a sigh of relief that it's not a season-ending injury, that it looked like it was and it's not. Where the Niners should be able to survive one game without Dominic Puni, whether it be Connor Colby, the rookie, or it be Ben Barch back, or Nick Zakelj, who was better today than he was against Denver. But I know you don't want to lose your really strong second season right guard who had a tremendous year last year, but I'm almost relieved in hearing that news compared to what it could have been.
It could have been worse. There's no doubt. And to answer a question from our YouTube chat, youtube.com/957thegame, Lori asks, a few weeks from now or from the beginning of the season? Shanahan means a few weeks from now. So now he might still miss multiple regular season games. We do not yet know. But it's a right knee injury for Dominic Puni, and Shanahan has said he's going to miss, quote, a few weeks. We will hear that full Shanahan coming up a little bit later on this hour here on 95.7 The Game. It's overtime. Mark Randy, Sterling Bennett with you. That's the big injury of the day, Sterling. It is Dominic Puni. Offensive line is a major question for me. Yes. I know you as well. A lot of Niner fans feel the same way. I mean, you're looking at a group that has Trent Williams, age 37, Ben Barch, who hasn't been a regular starter in the NFL, in his NFL career. Jake Brendel. Has
never been healthy for a full season either.
Has never been healthy for a full season as well. Jake Brendel at center, who has been the team's starting center for a bit now. And, around an average center. I think most people would probably agree with that for the most part. Then
don't tell Niner fans that. They skew a lot more negative towards Jake Brendel than most.
Well, Shanahan would say he's a top 10 center in the league. Niner fans would say he's a bottom 10.
Sometimes.
Niner fans would say he's a bottom 10. He might be somewhere in the middle. Dominic Puni at right guard. Now that's in question. Then Colton McKivitz at right tackle. And the story on McKivitz, I think, is similar to Brendel. And Shanahan feels very good about him. Niner fans don't quite feel as good as Shanahan does. But then the depth behind really any of those guys, Sterling, it's a major question. And you have questions on a lot of those guys in the first place. Again, you don't have a question about the ability of Trent Williams, about the ability of Dominic Puni. You have questions about the availability of Trent Williams because he's 37, and we now have questions about the availability of Dominic Puni because this right knee injury. We don't yet know Ben Barch as a starter and as a week in and week out player. We don't totally feel great about Jake Brendel and Colton McKivitz, and that's even before you get to the really questionable depth behind these guys. So, one, if they're fully healthy for the entire season, there's no guarantee that means it turns into a top 10 offensive line in the league. But if they're not healthy and they're already dealing with injury, Sterling, I have no confidence in any of the guys behind them to step up and keep this offense upright.
There's been some bright spots, right? Connor Colby, 7th-round pick, already taking first-team reps in training camp, albeit because Ben Barch is out at left guard, so maybe he can step up. But even then, Niner fans are walking into the season saying, you didn't draft one in the first 4 rounds this year. Even if you tried to, you didn't get it done. You didn't do it a couple years ago. Like, it doesn't seem to be this urge or this effort to invest in the offensive line.
Sterling, they're the only team in the NFL to not draft a tackle or a center in the last 3 drafts. The only team in the NFL. Yeah.
And it shows. It's cost them multiple Super Bowls the last couple of years under Kyle Shanahan. I won't go more into that because it breaks my heart. But you already have so many questions there with the starting 5, like you were saying, and to then have to rely on guys behind them and probably you're going to have to play Spencer Burford at some point this year. Trent misses a game or two each season for as good as he is. He's almost 40 years old. The ankle doesn't last that long. It's a ticking time bomb. You have Ben Barch, who's missed time. Again, the depth behind them is already so thin, and then to ask those guys to step up and either replace all-pro left tackles or really good rookies last year like Pooney, you may be asking too much. And the offensive line probably was already going to be mediocre. I wouldn't assume they'd be towards top 10. They have some guys that could be at their own positions, but as a unit, I don't think so.
Yeah.
And so then to rely on guys like Ben Barch, like Nick Zicam, who's never been good through 5 years with San Francisco, you have major question marks behind even your starters, and even your starters have question marks. And that's a really big concern, knowing you're paying guys like Christian McCaffrey, George Kittle, Brock Purdy a lot of money, where if they can't get the ball to those guys, or if you're not going to protect your assets, you got to reconfigure your roster in a big way. And I get it. They shed a lot of money this year and they try to do things, but to blatantly not attack and try to improve the offensive line may already be coming back to bite San Francisco in preseason week 2.
Yeah.
Games mean nothing yet, and it's already costing them.
Absolutely. Niners win in Vegas today, 22-19. They suffer an injury to Dominic Pooney, starting right guard. They seem to have avoided a really serious injury, but it is putting the beginning of the regular season in jeopardy for Dominic Pooney. And who do the Niners turn to if they have to go into Seattle week 1 without Dominic Pooney? We will continue to get into that. Plus, injuries hit the running back room again. We'll talk about that. Plenty of positives to get into, and we will do that coming up as well. Plus, Kyle Shanahan has addressed the media in Las Vegas. We will hear from the Niners head coach before we get on out of here today as well. It's overtime on 95.7 The Game. I'm Mark Randy with Sterling Bennett. We're with you until 6 o'clock. Time for your calls and texts at 888-957-9570. But first, time for a break. Back with more overtime next on 95.7 The Game.
Bay Area, you know there's nothing better than watching a game with a cold, righteously brewed beer in hand. That's why I always roll with Laughing Monk Brewing.
Okay, yeah, I mean, the beer is fire. Why are you talking like that?
With locations in San Francisco, Sunnyvale, Scotts Valley, you can always count on top-notch craft beer, next-level food, and the best game day atmosphere in the Bay.
Hold up, bro. Are you doing a commercial right now?
Glad you asked, Shasky, because you can find Laughing Monk at the best bars and restaurants in the Bay, or pick up a 4-pack at many fine retailers like Whole Foods, Gus's, and New Leaf Markets.
Dude, just pass the wings!
Oh, could this vintage store be any cuter?
Right? And the best part? They accept Discover.
Accept Discover? In a little place like this? I don't think so, Jennifer.
Oh, yeah, huh? Discover's accepted where I like to shop. Come on, baby, get with the times.
Right, so we shouldn't get the parachute pants?
These are making a comeback. I think.
Discover is accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. Based on the February 2025 Nielsen report.
Don't let pneumococcal pneumonia break your stride. If you're 50 or older, you're at increased risk. So be proactive with Capvaxive pneumococcal 21-valent conjugate vaccine to help protect against invasive pneumococcal disease and pneumonia caused by certain types of pneumococcal bacteria. Capvaxive helps protect against the strains of bacteria that cause about 30% more IPD cases than any other pneumococcal conjugate vaccine in adults over 50, according to national-level CDC stats. Regional variations may exist. Don't get Capvaxive if you're allergic to the vaccine or its ingredients. Tell your doctor if you have a weakened immune system. Common side effects include injection site reactions, feeling tired, headache, muscle aches, and fever. Capvaxive does not protect against all strains. For more information, call 1-800-927-8888 or visit capvaxive.com. Ask your doctor or pharmacist about Capvaxive. Need help paying for your Merck vaccine? Visit merckhelps.com. Sponsored by Merck.
Home title theft. It's on the rise and it's devastating if it happens to you. Listen to the alarming words of an actual home title thief.
I don't need to know your date of birth and social security number. All I have to do is go to public records, create a document, and file that document. And then I can borrow against the house or sell the house. You may have no clue until you find out that your house has been sold or till several loans or several banks are foreclosing on you.
For pennies a day, Home Title Lock puts a virtual barrier of protection around your home's title with 24/7 monitoring. The instant they detect any tampering, you'll get an alert. And that's bad news for home title thieves. So when's the last time you checked on the title to your home? Find out if you're already a victim with your free title scan and complete title report. $100 value free with sign up. Just go to HomeTitleLock.com and sign up in minutes. That's HomeTitleLock.com. HomeTitleLock.com.
So, what are you reading?
I'm checking out the ratings on the new TVs, and it looks like Samsung, LG, and Sony got the best scores.
Just like last year. What about those new high dynamic range TVs?
They got the highest scores of all, but their prices are really high.
Did you check online?
Yeah, their prices were about the same.
Well, there's one place where we can get a hot deal on those top-rated models.
Where?
At Video Only. Check out the ratings on TV stores.
I see. Video Only scored better than the others.
So, if you want the best deal on the best TVs,
then we should take our TV ratings and head over to top-rated Video Only.
At Video Only, you won't find huge stores with refrigerators or microwaves, but you will find the best deals on top-rated TVs, soundbars, and monitors. Shop around. Just make sure you visit Video Only, because if you don't,
you'll be sorry.
In Mountain View, San Mateo, Union City, Dublin, and San Rafael. Video Only.
Third down. Miller lofts it, and it's intercepted. Jalen Mahoney, and the 49ers got a chance.
Boy, I wish they would have let him get up and keep running and push this thing deeper into field goal range and come kick it. There's 13 seconds to go.
So 59 yards. Jake Moody for the win. He got it!
Bang! Moody.
59-yarder, and the 49ers win.
And Chase Lucas is running another victory lap down on the field. That is a great kick from Moody, and I am so glad it worked out where he could kick a career long. Certainly it's in the preseason, but to smash that through the uprights, awesome.
Now back to overtime with Grandy, Madsen, and Bennett, with sounds from the locker room and your calls at 888-957-9570. Overtime continues now.
Wow, what a moment that was. Jalen Mahoney interception, and then the game-winning 59-yard field goal by Jake Moody. Shout out to Guy Haberman, Tim Ryan on KPIX for the call there. Welcome back to Overtime here on 95.7 The Game. Mark Randy and Sterling Bennett with you. Sterling, it is hard to feel better about a preseason result than that one, considering how it ended. I know there's a lot of things to break down, both good and bad, and injuries, and we already heard about Dominic Pooney, and we're going to hear from Shanahan coming up in just a little bit. But I, for the life of me, cannot remember a more thrilling end to a preseason game than that.
That was maybe the best you can possibly feel after one of the most meaningless kicks in a game ever. Like, that may be the most important non-consequential kick in Jake Moody's entire career. Like, his job is safe for one more week because you had fans on the phone lines calling Greg Joseph right when he missed that 26-yarder. We all said, there's no way. There's no way. We can't do this again. We can't go through the roller coaster of Jake Moody. But good for him to bounce back. That said, can I get on my soapbox for 1 second?
Yep. I'll turn my mic off for you.
Yep, get out of the studio. It's my turn, Mark. It's been a few months. But everything is good for Jake when he bounces back like that. Like, we're all happy. The mental fortitude to bounce back, to miss a kick, and then come back and hit the game-tying kick, and then a minute and a half later get the game-winning kick. But they showed a clip on television of George Kittle having to go over to him and say, "It's okay, Jake. You'll get him next time, buddy. Everything's fine." I am so tired. For as great as today was, I'm tired of seeing my kicker on the sidelines needing mental reassurance of, "You can do it. It's okay." What are you, a 5-year-old trying to ride a bike for the first time and you fall down with the training wheels? It's like, just do your job. Do your job. I know it's hard sometimes. I can't do it. I'm not going to try to do it. I can't make a 59-yard field goal, but I'm tired of tight ends and receivers having to go over to him and say, "You'll get him next time. It'll be okay." And good for you. You did it next time. But there is no hope in my brain that if week 3 of the preseason, he has to do it again, that it's going to get done. And that to me is terrifying. For as great as today was, and as shiny as that silver lining may be, I don't want my kicker to have the reassurance that you can do this. It's okay. Just do your job. Do your job. Everyone else is doing their job. You don't need, Jake Moody's not going up to Brock Purdy saying, it's okay, Brock, you can do it after interceptions. Just do your job. Make kicks, please. We are going to go as far as Jake Moody can take us this year. Please make kicks.
Good job on your soapbox. There you go.
Thank you. Derailed the entire show.
No, you're good. I don't know if this says more about applause. Applause definitely was needed there. I don't know if this says more about me or more about the Niner fan base or more about Jake Moody. Maybe this is just, me being a little bit more of a pessimist at times. My mind goes to, Jake Moody, he made a 59-yard field goal to win a preseason game. Invariably, when he misses a kick in the regular season, because it's going to happen, every kicker misses at least a kick here or there in the regular season throughout the course of the season. My mind immediately goes to whenever that missed kick happens, it could be a meaningless kick, it could be a very important kick, it could be as simple as a blocked extra point. It's going to go, he can make a 59-yarder in the preseason, but he can't make it in the regular season. That's just where it is going to go immediately. I can already see the tweets rolling in. To defend Jake Moody for a second, Sterling.
Don't you dare.
To defend him for a second, I can imagine how difficult it must be to have to try to live up to the third-round grade or the third-round pick that Kyle Shanahan made you. Moody had an incredible collegiate career, and he was deserving to get drafted. Third round is still absolutely banana land. That should have never happened. Especially not trading up for him in the third round. Might be better than drafting a third.
It gets worse every time.
Might be better than drafting a third round running back over and over. I don't know. There's a lot of bad third round picks by Shanahan and this Niner regime. But being a third round pick and not having a ton of success, yet continually being trotted out there, and honestly, to kind of go against Shanahan a bit, often thrown out there in not ideal situations. The dude struggles from beyond 50 yards, but the number of times Shanahan decides, I'm going to kick it on 4th and 2, and I'm going to kick a 57-yard field goal on 4th and 2 instead of trying to go for it on 4th and 2. No, just go for it. So if I am to defend Jake Moody for a second, Sterling, I think he has the burden of being a third-round pick on his shoulders, and yes, he has not been good. No doubt about it. I'm not calling him a good kicker by any stretch of the imagination, but I also think...
You want to, though.
You're right. A lot of what he is feeling, I think, is just because of the situation that he's in and how he came to be on the 49ers, and that's not necessarily his fault. But he would not be in that situation if he would just, make his kicks. So I get it.
What's funny, it's good you bring up the fact that Shanahan not putting him in maybe the greatest positions, and he has struggled from 50 yards plus, which most kickers do. It's a really long field goal to make, but that's the exact reason they drafted him, was to make 50-plus yard field goals. And
you're right.
Again, to his credit today, he misses one. The fan base just starts, you see on the TV screen, you see the guy in the stands giving him the bird at the big Jumbotron. Yeah. You're like, this fan base is done with Jake Moody. They have been probably for a year now. But to see him bounce back, this was a very nice, successful win for him, where maybe for 1 week we can all kind of get off Jake Moody's back and say, okay, go out there. But even then, it's if we stop getting on Jake Moody, does he get complacent? Do things go wrong? And it's see, we told you so a year ago. But good for Jake Moody. A nice, to me, when you don't play the Raiders in the regular season, to play them every year in the preseason and get a win like this, that to me feels really good too. Jake gets back-to-back big field goals. He also beat Las Vegas and the Raiders in Las Vegas. Tied them last year in the preseason, where while the game is quote-unquote meaningless to the fan base, maybe to the Raider fans, it does mean something of we got you this time. Again, it's not going to matter, but the most important, meaningful kick in Jake Moody's career.
What You asking me?
No, I'm telling you.
Oh. Well, I mean, he had a Super Bowl record, longest field goal in the Super Bowl.
And the next one got blocked.
And he also, missed an extra point, and the game went to overtime. So, whatever.
For every time he wins, he loses. Today, he actually got multiple wins on his record. So good for Jake Moody.
He did. But you're right. I mean, today is a day to applaud Jake Moody. I know he missed that one that was also a 50-plus yarder, but he made a lot of others, including the game tire and the game winner. So, Jake Moody, at the very least today, you deserve our applause. It is weird because of all the other injuries that have happened. It kind of erased the kicker competition, even though there should have legitimately been a kicker competition. Greg Joseph got cut because the Niners had no other healthy bodies to go through joint practices and preseason games with, so they needed to save a roster spot in that way. And that's how they did that. But Jake Moody is going to be this team's starter week 1, and we'll see if it comes back to bite them. Elsewhere, Sterling, we were talking about Dominic Pooney, and we're going to hear from Shanahan coming up in a little bit. Other injuries, and I'm sure Shanahan will have addressed these guys as well. The injuries continue to hit the running back room, Sterling. They went into this game, Christian McCaffrey a healthy scratch, as expected. We don't need to see McCaffrey in the preseason, at least I don't. Jordan James did not play. He was out because of a finger injury. Isaac Guerendo out because of a shoulder injury. So the available running backs they had going into today, Patrick Taylor, Corey Kiner, Keyshawn Vaughn, and Jeff Wilson Jr., who they had just signed off the street last weekend. Patrick Taylor had 4 carries for -6 yards, then was ruled out with a shoulder injury.
That's bad.
Corey Kiner broke a really nice run in the first half, a 19-yard run. It looked like he might go all the way for a second. But as he was being tackled, hurt his left ankle, was ruled out immediately, and was carted off. So the Niners are left with the only healthy bodies in the running back room currently, Sterling, is Christian McCaffrey, Keyshawn Vaughn, and Jeff Wilson Jr. Those are the Niners' 3 healthy running backs right now. That running back room feels awfully light at this point.
Yeah, it doesn't help when the 2 guys you draft to be Christian McCaffrey's backups, being Guerendo and Jordan James, go down before Christian McCaffrey does, which you hope never happens. Which Guerendo's never been healthy in his entire career. That includes college too. So to rely on him to be healthy for an entire season probably isn't smart. But I guess maybe you get Jordan James back this week with the broken finger. How long can that actually keep you out of playing? I don't know. But maybe they need to go call Matt Breida, who just retired, and bring him back for a week or two, because while I do like Jeff Wilson Jr., got a touchdown today and looked like he had some fresh legs, which is nice to see, but I didn't think we'd be at running back number 7 come week 2 of the preseason, because we already are. And that's really scary to be at, knowing that Christian McCaffrey is coming off of a very, very serious Achilles injury and a knee injury. So I think we're all kind of holding our breath there. That like every snap felt like somebody else was getting hurt today. And with all the injuries they already have, like I was holding my breath whenever someone got tackled. And that is like the worst place to be in as a fan of like, who's hurt now? Who's hurt now? And unfortunately, it's about 5 guys in the backfield already.
Yeah, I guess that's why you don't play Fred Warner, you don't play Trent Williams, you don't play Christian McCaffrey, Nick Bosa in the preseason. Maybe you shouldn't play George Kittle. Maybe you shouldn't play Brock. I don't know, but it did.
Dominic Pooney.
Dominic Pooney. It did feel like that. And speaking of Dominic Pooney and all the other Niners that need to be updated with their new injuries, Kyle Shanahan did address the media postgame in Las Vegas. Let's hear from the head coach, Kyle Shanahan, postgame in Vegas today. Here he is, his full postgame presser after the Niners' thrilling preseason win versus the Raiders. Here's Shanahan.
What's up, guys? Injuries from today. Dominic Pooney left with a knee. Never returned. It'll be a few weeks. Possible PCL. Patrick Taylor dislocated his shoulder. He'll be out a couple weeks. Corey Kiner had a high ankle, most likely high ankle. Same thing with him. Go ahead.
It's the end of the game. A little redemption for Jake Moody to make that final.
Yeah, that was awesome. I was glad the defense gave us a chance with Mahoney getting that interception. Wish he could have returned it a few more yards just because we didn't get any yards after it, but set it up perfect for Jake to have to make a big field goal, and to hit a 59-yarder there or whatever it was huge. So real happy for him.
Shaky 26-yarder?
No. That probably wouldn't be good. No, I don't talk to the guys. I don't talk to kickers very much. Just tell them to make it.
Brock Purdy's first drive.
I thought it was a good drive. I was happy with those guys that they were able. That was the goal, to hopefully have one long drive and get them out, and thought they did a good job.
This week at the facility, just about trying to stay healthy, and it just seems like it's snake pit. Just your thoughts on how to move forward?
I mean, you just deal with it. Hopefully we'll get a bunch of guys back here. I mean, we didn't lose anyone for the year or anything like that. So, and we had pretty good luck on defense and special teams today, so that was good. But losing those 3 guys on offense was tough. But they won't be out forever. So hopefully they'll heal up fast.
I know Christian's, he's ready to go. He's healthy and whatnot. It's just a matter of time. Maybe week 1, but the running back, is it a concern in terms of getting paid?
Yeah, I mean, we lost our 2 and 3 a couple weeks ago, and then the next guy's up. We've lost them today, but all those guys will be back. So we've been through that before, and you can never have too many backs. So we got a number of them, and we haven't lost anyone for the year yet. So hopefully those guys will rebound fast.
You understand there's any other chance to be ready for week 1?
Yes. Yeah.
Is it possible this year?
Yeah. Yeah.
What was the post-game celebration like? I think Justin Moody was at the center of it.
Yeah, it was cool. We had him give us a speech, break us down. It's a little anticlimactic, but he did a good job. Guys were happy for him.
Does this give you, obviously, you played great final 2 kicks, made 5 or 6, but you missed pretty badly from 53, barely made from 26. If you look at it overall, you come out of this with more confidence and how he's.
Yeah, I think going 4 for 5 and hitting a 59-yarder and a 50-yarder and the game winner from 59, I think that was a hell of a day for him. So I thought he kicked his ass off and gives us a lot of confidence.
When you say you don't really have to kickers, is that ever or just
I don't discriminate versus anyone, but there's not a lot to talk to them about. They need to kick it between those 2 uprights, and if they want to talk more, that's fine. I'll do whatever they want, but I don't pretend like I'm doing something when I'm talking to the kicker, so I let them try to. I don't like everyone going up to them either. I'd like them to just stay mentally clear, lock into their job, and get it done. I saw some improvement. I thought he flew around, had some really good hits. It looked like he got in there on a sack on a 3rd down, so I saw some good things. Excited to watch him on the plane.
And what he showed on the first drive today has been sort of common in practices throughout the camp. How have you seen their rapport go?
Yeah, I think the more they're out there together, the better they both get. So Ricky got a late start, but he's put together here a couple good weeks, and he's been that way in practice, and it was good to get him out there in the game today for at least that drive.
Run game going though, maybe because there's no Trent out there and Christian, but what did you see from the run game?
Yeah, I didn't see a lot of good runs on the first drive. I think we might have had one. But yeah, I didn't break any big ones. Thought we had one opportunity. I think we got like a 10-yarder. Their middle 3rd guy got us. But yeah, I'd like to do better in that, but just still part of the process and still trying to get everyone better.
Maybe too early to tell, but do you foresee today being it for Brock in the preseason?
What's that?
It may be too early to tell, but do you foresee today being it for Brock in the
preseason? No. We'll see how this week goes. We got a long week. I love that we got 3 practices in a row for ourselves. Then we'll take a day off and then get ready for the Chargers. But we'll see how this week goes with Brock and with the rest of our starters. But we'd love the guys to play, but just got to measure it out and how this week goes.
What did you see from that as an interception? What did you think of Brock?
I thought he got a little greedy. He was trying to hold the linebacker and hit that guy on the inside edge of the numbers, and he held him a little bit, but I thought the linebacker made a hell of a play flying out there. When that happens, you just got to go to the halfback over the ball, but thought it was more of a good play by that guy, but besides that one miscue or mistake, I thought he played pretty well.
Probably obviously focusing on your team, but your thoughts on those first 2 series with Ashton Genty for a rookie, what do you look like?
Looked like he was running hard, looked like he was lowering his pads. They got him a couple good looks, too. Got him in space a couple times, but it was nice to see him this week, and he's going to have a good future ahead of him.
Brock mentioned the timing and everyone with Ricky with those kind of things like that. In year 2, is that sort of a normal jump that you would expect from them to be on the same page?
Yeah, I think that's pretty normal with everybody. The more you play with someone, the better timing you get with each other. Also, when wideouts come from college, it takes a while to learn the timing of an offense, and when you miss all of OTAs and all of training camp, you're usually a little behind on that timing. So Ricky's a real good route runner. Sometimes he gets too concerned with beating the guy and understanding that he's got to do it in the time of when Brock's looking at him. And that's something those guys have really been working through and getting really good at.
What did you see from Chase Lucas again this week?
I saw another pick, saw him do a victory lap after it. Didn't know if we were going to get him back. I think he went to both end zones during the play. But it seemed like Chase had a really good game, and we'll see on the plane, but he definitely showed up on the field.
Take two more, guys.
Do you have any rules regarding celebrations after interceptions?
Yeah, don't get a penalty. If you don't get a penalty, I'm good with whatever.
Speaking of celebrations, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, last time you were in this stadium, another team was celebrating a walk-off. Even though it's preseason, is it needed sort of the big exhale to win? Because they certainly took off on the sideline on that field.
You're talking about the last time we were here when Carter Bradley went down and beat us at the last second? Yeah, it was good to overcome that. So, yeah, we took that pressure off.
That's Kyle Shanahan post-game in Vegas. I think that reporter was asking about the Super Bowl loss, the walk-off Super Bowl loss, but Shanahan thought about last year's preseason loss.
Possibly.
Shanahan having some fun there with the reporters in Vegas. Shanahan also he said it himself, doesn't like to talk to Jake Moody in games. He said that.
What else did he say, though? What else did he say?
What did he say?
Just do your job. Those were his exact words. I don't talk to him. Just make the field goal.
All they got to do is kick it between the two upright thingies. Just do their job.
He even said, I don't want the players talking to him either.
Yeah, George, get away from him, Kittle. You don't need to talk to him, George.
I'm just happy no one got karate chopped to the neck today, because we can't have that happening again on the sideline like last year in Tampa Bay.
Yeah, this comes courtesy of the Boxer and Gerson Work Injury Attorneys text line. The 415 texted, maybe he needs Debo to slap him in the helmet. Oh, never mind. Yeah, Shanahan was not a fan of that. Although, as I recall, Sterling, when that happened, and that was the Tampa Bay game last year, right?
Yes.
In Tampa?
Yeah, Jake missed 3 kicks in a row.
Yeah, and Debo kind of got into Moody's face. And then, the long snapper, right? Came and defended. Tabor Pepper came and defended Jake Moody against Debo Samuel. And I remember after that, Shanahan didn't say like what Debo did was right, but essentially defended Debo over Tabor Pepper and Jake Moody, which was always a little weird to me.
I'm sure at that point, Kyle was like, I would like to hit Jake Moody a little bit. I'd like to smack him if I can. He's costing us games. But
possibly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shanahan did say in the postgame, I don't discriminate, so he might not be against giving Jake a smack here or there. It doesn't seem like he would care too much, but I will say this. To see the sideline celebrate with Jake, lift him up on their shoulders, I do wonder if this can be a turning point for him. Like, we all joke about it, and is it good or is it bad? Can he carry it over? But, like, realistically, he made his preseason debut against the Raiders at Allegiant Stadium, and he was terrible a couple years ago. Last year also wasn't good. A lot of his big games, his debut, a lot of it's happened in Allegiant Stadium, and for him to make those 2 kicks in a row to tie it and win it, to me, like, while I have to see it more, I do wonder if this can be a turning point for Jake Moody, which, again, a field goal that can be the biggest difference in a wild card game, a divisional round win or loss, or even going to the playoffs in general. And if you're going to miss guys like Ayuk and Juwan and Demarcus Robinson, like Jake Moody becomes one of the most important players on this roster this season.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So what you're talking about, a potential turning point for him, every Niner fan out there, whether you like Jake Moody, whether you believe in him or you not, or you don't, you got to hope that Sterling's right and that this is a turning point, because he's the only kicker on the roster right now. And if he struggles, it's going to be hard for the Niners to get where they want to go this year. If he turns out to be a good kicker this season, that's a major plus for the Niners. We can talk more about Jake Moody as we continue. Quickly, though, Sterling, just to recap the injury updates from Shanahan. He did say what we were talking about with Dominic Pooney. PCL injury, going to be a few weeks for Dominic Pooney. Patrick Taylor Jr., running back, dislocated his shoulder. Going to be a few weeks, according to Shanahan. Same for Corey Kiner, who they think got a high ankle injury. A few weeks for really all 3 of those guys. A few is kind of like this weird number. You don't know exactly how many weeks that's going to be. The Patrick Taylor Jr. injury and Corey Kiner injuries aren't gigantic deals. We're kind of freaking out because of what the rest of the running back room is. But if Garendo comes back eventually and Jordan James comes back eventually, those injuries will not mean all that much. But a few weeks for all three of those guys, Sterling, that's certainly something to keep an eye on for the next couple of weeks as we approach. Again, we're 3 weeks and 1 day. We're 22 days away from kickoff. Niners, Seahawks, and Seattle. Those are going to be 3 injuries to keep an eye on for these 3 weeks.
And also, you have to wonder, how does it affect roster cutdown day if these guys miss 2 to 4 weeks or they're out longer than that? Where, like Kevin Givens, for example, he's probably going to miss a handful of weeks to begin the season. And when you hear that, does it allow you to keep somebody else on your roster? Do you have to cut somebody else to keep somebody else? Like, it's a lot of maneuvering that I know may not be the big grandiose picture conversation, but if you are depleted at running back behind Christian McCaffrey, and let's say Garendo and Jordan James aren't back, you may have to cut a receiver or an offensive lineman or a defensive lineman you like to make sure your running back room has a guy on it that you can actually suit up on game day. So it may sound small, but small injuries can balloon really quickly for this roster.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, time for a break. When we come back, let's switch sides and talk about the defense, because there is a lot of things to be excited about if you're a fan of Niners defense, you're a fan of Robert Saleh, you're a believer that he's going to turn this defense around. We're talking about a lot of youngsters here too, Sterling, so we can get into all of that when we come back. It's overtime here on 95.7 The Game. That's Sterling Bennett. I'm Mark Grandy. 1 hour down, 1 hour to go. Always time for your texts and your calls at 888-957-9570. And you can join the party on the YouTube chat, youtube.com/957 The Game. Talking defense. When we return, it's overtime on 95.7 The Game.
No, I don't talk to the guys. I don't talk to kickers very much. Just tell them to make it.
Nobody breaks down an NFL game better.
They're trying to zone it and take it away and squeeze it, yet the throw just cuts right through it. The outside noise, none of the players subscribe to it. Brock Purdy doesn't care about it.
The players love him.
What I love about Baldy is that he loves ball. You can tell by the way he talks about guys, the way he breaks down their tape.
Ryan Baldinger on the Morning Roast with Spadoni and Shasky every Tuesday at 7:30.
Sleep is overrated. I'm just trying to give America what they want.
We are the Bay Area's football station, 95.7 The Game.
Don't miss Chance the Rapper on his And We Back tour on October 16th at the Masonic in San Francisco. Buy your tickets at livenation.com. And for your chance to win your way into the show, visit the contest page at 957thegame.com.
This Labor Day weekend, be road trip ready with Valvoline Instant Oil Change. No appointment needed. Stay in your car while they change your oil and check your tires, battery, and fluids before you head down the coast or over the Golden Gate. Visit BayAreaOilChange.com.
Shopping for a new car is fun. Shopping for financing, not fun. Luckily, First NorCal Credit Union can help. With rates as low as 4.75% APR, you can save big by skipping the dealer financing and applying their rebates to your down payment. Visit FirstNorCalCU.org to apply. Must qualify for membership. Rates subject to change without notice. Loan subject to credit approval. 4.75 annual percent rate based on 36-month term and 780 FICO score and 29.86 per $1,000 borrowed.
1-877 Cards for Kids. KARS Cards for Kids. 1-877 Cards for Kids. Donate your card today.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Ready to get rid of that old car? Donate it to Cars for Kids. Call 1-877-CARS-FOR-KIDS to reach a friendly live agent. Donation's super easy, and your car can be picked up as soon as tomorrow. Call us now, 1-877-CARS-FOR-KIDS. That's Cars with a K to donate your car today.
1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Did you know you can donate real estate too? Go to carsforkids.org. That's carsforkids.org.
This Labor Day weekend, we're celebrating Bob's Discount Furniture's 200th store milestone with the entire Bob's family across the country. For more than 30 years, we've believed everyone deserves the home they love. That's why we brought our everyday low prices on furniture, mattresses, and more to over 200 locations from coast to coast and counting. Not to mention free treats for the whole family in our cafes. Celebrate Bob's Discount Furniture's 200 store milestone this Labor Day weekend. Oh, my Bob!
Now that I'm a dad, I can't stop thinking about what would happen to my kids if something happened to me, like losing the house or not affording college.
Yeah, that used to keep me up at night too. It's why I finally got life insurance from Ethos. It's 100% online. No medical exams, just a few health questions. I got $2 million in coverage for around $2 a day.
I never realized it was that simple. Get your free quote at ethos.com/life. That's ethos.com/life.
Rates may vary. Bill monthly. Sample rate 10-year term life policy for a 35-year-old healthy non-smoking male.
Bring home Smurfs on digital now. In this fun, epic adventure, the Smurfs team up with new friends on a daring rescue mission to save Papa Smurf. Available at participating retailers from Paramount Pictures. For a chance to win a digital copy, enter online at 957thegame.com.
If you're 55 or older and into that whole saving money thing, T-Mobile has an exclusive phone and internet bundle just for you. Right now, get 2 unlimited phone lines plus 5G home internet for just $30 each per month with autopay, plus taxes and fees. And with 5G home internet, setup is easy with just one cord and no technician needed, which is great if you're also into that whole keeping it simple thing. Switch now and experience the best mobile network in the U.S. Visit your local store to start saving. T-Mobile, it's better over here.
Based on analysis by Ookla of speed test intelligence data Q4 2024 to Q1 2025. Ookla trademarks used under license. Unlimited on our network. Customers on voice plan may notice speeds lower than other customers and further reduction if using more than 50 gigs a month due to data prioritization. Video streams and SD on this plan. Home internet pricing after $20 in monthly bill credit plus $5 per line without autopay. Debit or bank account required. See 5G device coverage and access details at T-Mobile.com.
You're listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMZ FM in HD1 San Francisco on Odyssey Sports Station. Always live on the free Odyssey app, Twitch, and YouTube. Powered by First NorCal Credit Union.
'49ers bring some pressure, and that is thrown into an interception. Is that Chase Lucas?
You know who it is. Our man Chase, who's going to play the whole game. Started at nickel today. He has certainly played his way right into the conversation. He is all over this route. Undercuts it, flips his head at the right time.
Now back to 95.7 The Game.
Yeah, welcome back. It's overtime here on 95.7 The Game. I'm Mark Randy, along with Sterling Bennett, breaking down a Niner preseason win versus the Raiders in Vegas, 22-19. One of the more thrilling finishes to a preseason game that I can remember. Jake Moody, 2 field goals in the final 40 seconds of this game. The first to tie from 44 yards, the second to win at the buzzer from 59 yards, and they win. They would not have been able to win this game, though, Sterling, if it was not for Chase Lucas. That interception you just heard on KPIX, Guy Haberman and Tim Ryan doing a great job calling the action on KPIX. Chase Lucas, Sterling, through 2 games in the preseason, probably is riser number 1 on this Niner team. A guy who was fighting just to make the roster now feels like it would take something disastrous for him to not be on this Week 1 roster, and cutdown day is only 10 days away.
Can I compare Robert Saleh to Nick Sorensen for a second?
Do it.
Really is unfair because they don't belong in the same conversation whatsoever when it comes to being a defensive coordinator, but this is the difference right here. Where, yes, credit goes to Chase Lucas as to growing as a player, making big plays, whether it is big sacks or third downs, like had a big sack on that last drive against, or for Las Vegas, had a big sack in Week 1, got a safety because of it. He's playing great. But last year, with this defense depleted, guess who was sitting on the practice squad all year long?
Chase Lucas.
Chase Lucas. And again, give credit to Chase Lucas out there making plays, but Robert Saleh unleashing him, putting him in the right places at the right time, dialing up things for him to do defensively where he's playing against maybe the second-team offense or third-team offense. No. he's playing against Denver's first-string offense. He's playing against Las Vegas's first-team offense and making plays, and really did put the Niners in position to win both these games, albeit last week was a different story. Talk about the nickelback position being open. Upton Stout, Trey Brown, Chase Lucas. Trey Brown has plummeted down that depth chart.
Yeah.
He was signed as a primary free agent, brought in to be one of the guys of that kind of top 4 grouping of cornerbacks. He is now the 3rd nickelback on the depth chart because Upton Stout has looked tremendous in training camp, and Chase Lucas is showing out and has been the only nickelback on the roster in practice for a whole week, dating back to last Saturday. So sometimes all you need is a chance and an opportunity. And Chase Lucas, at 27 years old, on his second team in the NFL, is running with it in the red and gold.
Yeah, previously a member of the Detroit Lions, was a 7th-round pick of Detroit back in 2022, played mostly special teams with the Lions, was a Niner on the practice squad all year last year, and I think is going to have a pretty good chance here to make the team considering what he's done the first 2 preseason games. And it's been that way in the practices and in the joint practices as well, in everything in this training camp. I think you make a really good point about Robert Saleh specifically, though. And this is what happened on the safety of Bo Nix in the preseason game last week, and that was also on a blitz by Chase Lucas. They kind of brought a delayed pressure. I believe it was D. Winters who broke through the offensive line of the Broncos from the left side of the defense, the right side of the offensive line, got in Bo Nix's face. Bo Nix saw the pressure and had to blindly spin to his blind side. And who is coming off of that edge, as called by Robert Saleh? It's Chase Lucas, a free, untouched run right to the quarterback. And Bo Nix, wanting to avoid getting hit, as anybody would, just throws the ball away in the end zone. He doesn't get it back to the line of scrimmage. There's no one in the area. That's intentional grounding. He's in the end zone. That's a safety by rule. So you're right. Credit to Chase Lucas. And, I mean, his speed has been on display, his relentlessness, his fearlessness, willing to take on blockers, shed blockers, take on bigger dudes, put his body on the line with every tackle that he's making. But it's also just really, as a Niner fan, Sterling, it is refreshing to see a defensive coordinator, even in just a preseason game, dial up the right look in a big moment and turn the game, whether it's a safety, whether it's a sack on that potential Raiders final drive to try to win a game. Like, it's a preseason game. We can all agree that wins and losses don't mean all that much. I guarantee you, when Robert Saleh sent the Niners defense on the field after Jake Moody tied the game in the final minute, Raiders have like 40 seconds and all 3 timeouts. I guarantee you Robert Saleh said to their guys and fired them up and said, we're not losing this freaking football game. Hell, we might get our offense the ball back here. Like, these guys are all competitors, and they're trying to go out there and win, not to the point that Saleh is going to go deep into his bag and call a play that he's been waiting to call. He's going to wait for that for the regular season. But just to see a guy lead this defense against Sterling that has the sense for the moments and when to bring a corner on a blitz, when to bring both linebackers, when to bring a safety, that is refreshing because it's been a couple of years since we've really seen that from a Niner defensive coordinator.
And we've kind of talked about the game being meaningless when it comes to the outcome.
Yeah.
But Shanahan talked about it, I believe, on maybe SiriusXM early in the week in regards to that they have about the most open roster spots as they've had since 2018. And when we say meaningless, I think me and you can both agree, yes, the outcome is that, but the game itself, when you have this many guys trying to prove themselves, so many open roster spots, so many starting positions still up for grabs, well, yes, again, the outcome meaningless, it doesn't matter. A pivotal 3rd down sack means something to Robert Saleh, who is brought back in here for one reason and one reason only: restock the defense and reestablish the culture. That this defense needs a replenishment of talent, but also get back to playing that wide 9, cover 3 attacking, all gas, no breaks defense. And you had Wilkes, you had Sorensen. There was a varying degree of success there, but you bring Saleh in, and he has to find out which guys can fit his mentality in his defensive scheme and the way he wants to play. and you go and trade for Bryce Huff in the offseason. You have Chase Lucas out there now making plays, and you love Marquis Siegel making plays too. Nicholas Martin in a bounce-back game this week as well. You are starting to see Saleh maybe look at veteran players and say, you're not going to make the cut. I have young guys that are hungry, and Chase Lucas in specific told Robert Saleh in week 1 of the preseason, let me loose. Let me show you what I can do.
Yep.
And we're seeing it on display the last 2 weeks of preseason.
To your point about preseason results being meaningless, but all the individual performances and the individual moments meaning a ton, I would argue, Sterling, since maybe 2019, maybe not 2019, 2018, certainly 2017, like very early Shanahan era, there has never been preseason games that have meant more than this one. You got to go all the way back to 17, 18, 19. Like 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, nowhere near as meaningful in the preseason as this one is. And that is just the reality of the Niners. I think if you're a Niner fan, you wish that it wasn't quite as meaningful because that would mean you would have fewer questions. But it's just the reality of where this roster is right now. And specifically on the defensive side of the football, Sterling, I think we saw a lot of positives. There are some negatives, but a lot of positives today. You mentioned a couple of their names. Nick Martin, the rookie linebacker out of Oklahoma State. I don't think he was bad week 1. I think it was kind of a mixed bag because I thought he was in the right spots and he was aggressive and you saw him flash his speed and his athleticism. He just tended to be a little overamped and a little over-aggressive and miss some tackles as a result. But I said this last week, I think that's just, as Robert Saleh would look at it, that's moldable clay. Like, I see a guy who's making the right reads, getting to the right spots. He's just being he's a little overeager. It's his professional debut. That's understandable. Nick Martin today, it was more of the same in terms of aggressiveness and physicality and speed. That blitz and the sack that he had of AOC in the third quarter or in the second quarter on third down, he just raced past the center. Center thought he had time to shuffle over into the hole and get to Nick Martin. Nick Martin said bye-bye, ran right past him, and got to AOC for an easy sack. Aiden O'Connell, the backup quarterback for the Raiders.
Not the politician.
Not the politician. Had an amazing pass breakup with a Charles Tillman peanut punch of a tight end, a reserve tight end for the Raiders, ultimately called an incomplete pass, was maybe another half second away from being a fumble. Regardless, broke up a play, was running step for step with a tight end deep down the field and punched that ball away. Nick Martin, I thought, was awesome in this game, Sterling, and no doubt built on what we saw him do last week. I don't know if we're going to see Nick Martin get a ton of meaningful snaps this year because we also saw Tatum Bethune, I think, had a pretty good game as well, and he's having a good preseason and a good camp, and it does feel like D. Winters is probably going to be that week 1 starter opposite Fred Warner, so there is kind of a logjam there, although we can't forget when the Niners are in base, there are 3 linebackers on the field, so there's room for 3, not just 2 of these linebackers at times. But I thought Nick Martin was one of the major winners on the defense today, Sterling.
I thought he was bad in week 1 of the preseason, but with the context of that wasn't just his professional debut. He hadn't played a football game in over a year.
True.
Coming off a torn ACL, so of course he's amped up. Of course he's over-eager to make plays, and there was some of that today as well, but overall, a much more well-rounded attack from Nicholas Martin. Again, a big sack on third down against Las Vegas's offense, and a lot of big plays, a lot of good tackling. The one thing you have to love about him is that he does fulfill the need of that linebacker that can go one sideline to the other.
He's so fast.
Of an eye.
Yeah.
He's electric. He's quick, and I think if you are Robert Saleh, you almost want to put kind of horse blinders on him in year 1. He might be a redshirt player, but you're almost like, just focus on one thing. Your body's there. Your speed, the way you play is what we love. It's why we maybe overdrafted you in round 3. But if we can hone you in and refocus you and get you back into playing the brand of football we know you can play, the sky really is the limit for him. Don't forget, D. Winters a free agent in 2 years' time, too. It's a long ways away, I get it, but he also has had health issues at linebacker the last couple of years, so while I do think Nick Martin might be a redshirt player for the first year of his career, he's in a good place for me. A big bounce-back game of, like, young player, overzealous in week 1. How do you bounce back?
Yep.
I think it was one of the more impressive performances today on that defense.
Yeah, and you said you thought Nick Martin wasn't, not just wasn't good, but was bad week 1. That's fair. Like, he missed a lot of tackles, but he found himself in positions to make tackles, and oftentimes you have guys who come out of the college game and are linebackers and were tackling machines early, but they just can't stack up athletically, and they can't even find themselves to be in a spot to make tackles. So I get that I'm kind of like moving the goalposts for Nick Martin in week 1 of the preseason, but at least he was in spots to make those tackles. And I think he got a lot of good tape last week, and I would imagine all the defensive coaches, Robert Saleh leading the way, went over with him this past week. That's what led to this turnaround this week. And I mean, we can't forget, like, Nick Martin, what he's going through, and I know we have not seen D. Winters in a lot of meaningful snaps as a linebacker yet. We very likely will this year. This is also what D. Winters has gone through the last 2 years, like kind of running around 100 miles an hour. You don't really know where you're going. You take some bad angles. You allow running backs to get the edge, but you're always like around the play. You just can't quite bring the guy down. It's also what for years drove Niner fans crazy about a lot of linebackers. Like it's been the case for a number of linebackers to play opposite Fred Warner. Like this is what Dre Greenlaw was very early in his career too, and even to the point.
It's what Talanoa Hufanga was too.
You're right, absolutely. Talanoa Hufanga,
same stuff.
Jair Brown. But I mean, Dre Greenlaw had been the guy and still is the guy. We'll see, and hopefully he stays healthy with the Broncos. There are a few guys that I think everyone in the locker room loves more than Dre Greenlaw. Dre Greenlaw still will be a little over-aggressive, and sometimes to the point of where he'll commit penalties, but also he could over-pursue and just kind of run a little too hard. So, like, this is what linebackers have to go through, and I think Nick Martin is going through it. Now, similarly, at a similar position, Sterling, I thought Tatum Bethune was awesome today. That hit that he laid on Ashton Genty, oh my God. And
he put him in the tent.
He did. And then he came back, and Genty ran over Diamador Lenore the next drive. We can talk about that. Lenore did get some work in.
The hyena got put on his backside.
He did. That was not great tape. Not gonna look good on the highlight reel for Diamador Lenore. But in order to put that hit on a guy like Ashton Genty, and if you don't know Ashton Genty, phenom running back out of Boise State, led the nation in like every meaningful statistic that for running backs last year, and not just because he was playing in the Mountain West. Like the dude is legitimately a beast. He's going to be awesome for the Raiders this year. Tatum Bethune hit him so hard that he had to, as Sterling said, go to the tent. And the other thing that stands out about that play specifically, Sterling, you see guys like deliver big hits, and that was a big hit, but the running back or receiver or tight end or whoever just like kind of bounces off the hit and then keeps running. Like Bethune delivered the hit and then helped wrap him up, like stayed grabbing him and brought him down quickly after the big hit. And this is just one moment. I think Bethune has had a couple of good preseason games and largely a positive camp as well, to the point where maybe, who knows, he might be pressing D. Winters potentially for one of those linebacker spots, maybe the main linebacker spot opposite Fred Warner. But I also think Bethune was good, Sterling, and overall just a really good day for this linebacking core, I think, in general.
Yeah, I think Bethune is actually in line to take Luke Gifford's spot in that third linebacker spot next to Warner and D. Winters this year. I think Winters has things pretty much locked up, who also had a nice game today as well, had a few nice tackles on Ashton Genty himself. But I think Bethune last year brought in a 7th-round pick out of Florida State. They liked him a lot coming out of FSU, met with him a handful of times, 7th-rounder. They were like, hey, you're there, we're taking you immediately. And I know last year wasn't great for him, albeit maybe there was some Nick Sorensen effect there, but he has really tightened things up, and I think he's starting preseason games, whereas last year he's playing, fourth quarter rarely, where you've seen that growth so quickly in year 2, and to be out there and, you can tell he's gotten bigger and stronger to take on a guy like Genty, who is, again, like you were saying, if not the best, one of the best running back prospects since the year 2000.
Yep.
Like, he's tremendous. And there's a reason why people were saying 7, take him at 2, take him at 1. Like, this guy can be a Hall of Fame player if he reaches the potential. But to see Bethune out there making plays, making tackles, and having the wherewithal to say, I'm going to lay some wood, but I'm not going to finish till the job's done.
Yep.
Like, that's the important part, to finish off your plays, to finish off your drives. And John Lynch has always preached, we need guys that can finish games, finish plays, finish off drives. And Bethune, again, it's 2 games in preseason, so what is it worth? But for him, he's looking like a finisher right now on that defense.
So you think, and we could maybe next segment to wrap things up, we can run through who we think the week 1 starters might be, but you think it's going to be Fred, D. Winters, and then on base downs, when they got 3 linebackers in there, Tatum Bethune will be that 3rd linebacker.
I just don't think Gifford has the speed you want on that defense. I think he fits really well on special teams where you can keep plays in front of you, but when you're asking him to cover ground and zone, but also cover scat backs out of the backfield in the flat, I just don't think Gifford can do that. And I think Bethune has flashed a much better presence in run defense and in coverage than Gifford has thus far. I get Gifford's a veteran. Shanahan sometimes doesn't mind or would prefer to play those guys. But Sala does not, like Shanahan said, does not discriminate. If you can play, you're going to be out there week 1, whether you're a rookie, your first game ever, or you're a second-year pro. So I do think Bethune's going to be out there to start the season.
I want to talk about the defensive backs and specifically safety coming up in a little bit, because I think we saw a big day for Marquise Siegel, rookie for the 49ers as well, and they drafted him in the 5th round out of Kansas State. He's had himself a good preseason and a good training camp as well. We can talk about him coming up, Sterling, but let's focus for a sec on the defensive line, because this is an issue, and some of it is injury related. Like it really sucks that we have not gotten to see Mykel Williams in either of these first 2 preseason games. He got dealt a hyperextended knee on the joint practice versus the Broncos before that game versus the Broncos last week. Did not play in that game. Shanahan said it was going to be about a week, but he hasn't practiced all week, did not play today. So it's been more than a week with Mykel Williams. Who knows when he's going to come back? And then CJ West, he also hyperextended his knee, and those are 2 of the Niners' first 5 picks in this year's draft. CJ West, a 4th round pick. Mykel Williams, the first pick, 11th overall for the 49ers. We did see Alfred Collins, 2nd round pick, Niners' 2nd pick in the most recent draft, defensive tackle. I mean, he played. He was one of the guys that I think we're talking about risers, right, with Bethune and with Martin and with Siegel. He's one of the guys, I think, through 2 preseason games, Sterling, and maybe some of this is his late start. He had the drama with his contract, as every second rounder did in the NFL. That is, I'm sure, part of it. But through 2 games in the preseason, maybe this is maybe a more trained eye would be able to see more, Sterling. But through 2 games, I have not seen much from Alfred Collins at defensive tackle.
Yeah, he's not going to be this pass rushing specialist. He's not going to have, a DeForest Buckner, Eric Armstead, even Javon Hargrave, not in San Francisco, mind you, 10-plus sack season. But he's more of a space eater. And today, it felt like that defensive line was getting pushed around a ton.
Yep.
Where things did change later on in the game, but earlier on against the Raiders, first-team offense, second-team offense with Ashton Genty and Raheem Mostert out there, guys like Kalia Davis and Alfred Collins and Evan Anderson, guys you would hope to be run-defending, maybe starters in some games this year, they were getting pushed around, and that Raiders offensive line, their first-team offensive line, was opening up space at a continual basis, which I get it. You don't have Mykel, you don't have CJ West, you don't have Nick Bosa, so maybe that changes, but we talked a lot about the offensive line depth being a concern. That same thing kind of stands for the defense, where I have more confidence in the defense because of Robert Saleh, and they have the guys behind them that get the job done if the defensive line doesn't do well, but Alfred Collins was more invisible this week to me than he was last week, which, again, maybe, like you said, you get Baldy on and he'll tell us something different, which if he does, awesome. I'm all ears. But it just felt like the impact he's making certainly isn't popping off the screen as somebody else may.
He is gigantic. Alfred Collins is, like, legitimately a giant. The thing that I'm seeing, and let me I want to get his actual official numbers. He's 6'5", 332. The guy is a gigantic human being.
That's terrifying.
Terrifying. when you're that big and that heavy, it's a little more difficult, right? Like you hear this in football all the time. Low man wins, and what has been hurting Alfred Collins is he's unable to be the low man against these centers and guards that he's going up against very often. And there was one particular rep, I forget when it was, it might have been the second quarter, where he's just being absolutely driven backwards, and it looks like he's putting up zero fight because he just can't get underneath the center or the guard. I forget who it was that was blocking him, and he gets driven like 15 yards up the field, and he's just backpedaling. Like, he can't do anything about it. And that's not a knock on like his strength and his physicality. It's just a knock on he doesn't have the reps, he doesn't have the repetition, the amount of time to really understand what he has to do in order to win those one-on-one battles often enough. And it feels like the more that I see Alfred Collins, Sterling, the more this is appearing to be a guy who's going to have to be developed in season in order for him to have any kind of impact. And for a team that is starving for starting defensive linemen, for guys to come in and impact them immediately, that's not good news for your second-round pick. You were hoping that he was going to be more plug-and-play. And again, maybe the late start is a big part of this, and by week 3, he's an entirely different player. And if you're the Niners, you certainly hope so. But through 2 preseason games, and we're 3 weeks away from week 1 in Seattle, I feel like Mykel Williams, obviously, I feel like C.J. West, both those guys are clearly going to have a bigger impact on this team than Alfred Collins.
When Kyle Shanahan said, we hope to be a different team, week 12 compared to week 1, my mind immediately went to the defense and Alfred Collins of, in 10 weeks' time, we're expecting things to turn the corner and him to get his pad level down, which the minute you give up leverage, you lost.
You're done.
You cannot regain it. It's over with. It's why you see 6'3 guards, 6'2 guards beat these 6'5 defensive tackles, because if you have leverage, you have the inside track to a win, and once you give it up, you have no chance to recover.
Absolutely. All right, we got time for more of your calls and your texts, 888-957-9570. When we come back, we got to talk about the defensive backs, because there's a lot to be excited about, but also some concerns. I mean, who the hell is going to start at safety? We can talk about that when we come back, and we can run through maybe our projected week 1 starters if we want before we wrap things up. It's preseason week number 2. It's overtime on 95.7 The Game. Mark Randy, Sterling Bennett with you. Back with more next on 95.7 The Game.
I don't discriminate versus anyone.
Football is back. The road to Santa Clara starts now.
I want to go back to the playoffs, and the road to Levi's starts now.
Your station for the best football talk in the Bay.
I love football.
Is 95.7 The Game.
Gain a global perspective and specialized skills that many of today's top employers are seeking with an MBA from University of Maryland Global Campus. Study online and complete your degree in just 16 months for about $21K. Choose from MBA specializations in global business, marketing, HR, finance, and more. No application fee if you apply by September 3rd. Learn more at umgc.edu. That's umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chev.
Whoa, these polymers aren't as flexible as batch K3.
Researcher Laurie is stretched thin.
Did you get the vulcanization analytics from V66? Oh, wait, are these rubber scores from last week?
She needs to hire new lab technicians so she can bounce back into her old self.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Our matching platform lets you spend less time searching and more time connecting with candidates. Redeem your $75 credit at Indeed.com/credit. Terms and conditions apply.
Join 95.7 The Game personalities at Harding Park September 5th for a day of golf with the Pettinelli Financial Partners 10th Annual Tournament to support Autism Society's San Francisco Bay Area. Committed to providing resources and activities for local families touched by autism. Sponsored in part by Atco Pest Control. This event needs your help. Have your company co-sponsor, volunteer, or provide in-kind auction items like vacation homes or sports tickets. For details on how you can help, search 10th Annual Pettinelli Golf, September 5th at Harding Park.
Doors and loading dock equipment are a crucial part of your business, and one you probably don't think much about.
until they break. A broken door or dock leveler can be a real security threat, along with disturbing the flow of goods in your business. Luckily, RNS is here for all your commercial door, dock, and gate needs. From overhead doors and security shutters to fire-rated and personnel doors, RNS can provide your business with safety and security. Call 800-FIX-A-DOOR to schedule a free estimate or visit rsdoors.com. RNS Doors. Look for the red truck.
All guests on 95.7 The Game appear on the River Islands guest line.
Warriors head coach Steve Kerr now joining us on the River Islands guest line.
Joining us right now on the River Islands guest line, none other than Steph Curry.
River Islands in Lathrop combines new home neighborhoods with lakes, parks, and trails. All new charter schools, a waterfront restaurant, and all the elements to make the good life your life. Isn't it time for you to discover the islands?
Eat up, buddy. It's almost time for school.
You take charge of your home. You take charge of your work. Don't forget to take charge of your gut health too with Nature Made probiotics. Nature Made has clinically studied probiotics that work with your digestive tract's natural bacteria, so you won't miss a beat in your daily routine. Find us in the vitamin aisle. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Don't miss Chance the Rapper on his And We Back tour on October 16th at the Masonic in San Francisco. Buy your tickets at livenation.com. And for your chance to win your way into the show, visit the contest page at 957thegame.com.
Third and 18, three receivers. Russell Gage, the third receiver. There's Pearsall for the first down.
What a dime from Brock Purdy on an absolute rope to Ricky Pearsall with the pocket closing around him from the outside. Just perfect timing, sets his feet.
Now back to 95.7 The Game.
Sky Haberman, Tim Ryan on the call for KPIX. Yeah, that was the first drive of the game. Brock Purdy ripped one in to Ricky Pearsall on 3rd and 18 for 21 yards. That was, one of the highlights of the day offensively, Sterling. There was not like a ton of amazing plays offensively for the Niners. They had their moments. They had that 4th down conversion by Jake Tonjes on their, I guess technically their second to last drive, the one that tied the game up, that kept their game alive. But in terms of like great throws, that Purdy to Ricky Pearsall to convert on 3rd and 18, that's like top of the list for me. That was an awesome throw.
Well, don't forget that the offensive line and their run blocking blew back-to-back run coverages.
Yeah.
Back-to-back TFLs sets up a 3rd and 18, and we're all saying, oh, crap, here comes Brock Purdy's one drive. Going to be a wasteful punt to get Thomas Morstead as one rep of the day, which, have you seen that guy? That dude is freaking jacked. He put a picture on Twitter. It's like Carter Bradley, him, Brock Purdy, and Mac Jones. That dude is like 45 years old, and he is ripped like Nick Bosa giving a run for his money. Like, why is the punter that big? I digress. Moving back to Brock Purdy for a second. 3rd and 18. Again, the chemistry on display, just right in the money, right where it needs to be. And I think, like we said earlier in the show, like that gave me a lot of hope that we're going to be okay. Despite the injuries, despite maybe the chaos, the chaos of the preseason / training camp sessions, the Niners offense is going to be just fine as long as Brock Purdy and Ricky Pearsall can be healthy, which may be a big question mark, but either way, a very good outing for those guys today.
No doubt. We're going to get back to the defense in a sec, but Purdy also spoke post-game. He had this to say about his connection with Ricky Pearsall.
I thought it was awesome just to be able to go live against another defense in a game situation, and obviously we have them in our playbook to hit him on certain things, but the defense obviously has to give us the right looks for that and stuff. But I thought he did a great job overall, like just getting him the ball in some space, and there were certain routes, all the routes that we threw to him were a little different, but it was cool seeing him being able to work each one differently, and each route was different based off of like coverage and the look, and so I thought it was great work for both of us to get in some live action and be able to connect on that in the heat of the moment, which was awesome. So we're just going to continue to build and get better together, and but I definitely thought it was great just working with him this offseason and everything, and camp, and then finally going out in a game situation and seeing the results, which was awesome. So
There's Purdy. That's what the preseason is about, Sterling. Like we can spend all the time in the world we want talking about how McCaffrey doesn't need it, how Trent doesn't need it, Fred doesn't need these preseason games. I think it's really important for offenses specifically, and I think specifically for a quarterback and their receiver, just to get into a rhythm. Like, and specifically this situation where you have a young quarterback, but a very young wide receiver who does not have a lot of experience at this level or with this quarterback, just to get into a rhythm before week 1 comes around, because there's so many times where, and there was a miscommunication in the end zone on that first drive where Pearsall, I think the route was like kind of an in-breaking route in the end zone, but based on where the defense was, it looked like Purdy expected Pearsall to read that and just to sit down where there was an opening and break off his route and just kind of sit in that opening, find the open zone and stay there, and Purdy threw it to the open zone, but Pearsall kept cutting inside. Like, those are the things that a quarterback and a wide receiver need to get on the same page with. And if it wasn't for that rep, these reps in a preseason game against a defense that you don't know a lot about, etc., you might be working through some of those things week 1, week 2, week 3. So it's just one drive, and is it going to make a gigantic difference? No, probably not. But over time, those things add up. And when we try to highlight the importance of a preseason game, Sterling, I think for me specifically, when we're not talking about rookies trying to win a job, it is a quarterback and an inexperienced wide receiver trying to get on the same page. And I think we saw that from Purdy and Pearsall.
Did you see the video the Niners put out? I think it may have been earlier in the week. It was called The Build. It was leading into joint practices against the Broncos in the first preseason game. There's a short clip of Ricky Pearsall talking to Brock Purdy, telling him, when I come back, I want you to hold me accountable on my breaks, where I'm at in my routes. Like, we got to get this thing narrowed down. I want you to let me know where I need to be every single time when I'm not. And I think you see the example of Pearsall being in Nashville, Tennessee, with George Kittle, with Jacob Cowling, with Brock Purdy, who now lives next to George Kittle in Nashville. Not to dox him, but that's where he's at now. Like, all those guys working together as a unit, catching passes, going over the playbook and whatnot. And even today, despite the one kind of hiccup there was, Purdy's not going to sit idly by and let that happen. He'll yell at his receivers. He yelled at Juwan Jennings in Minnesota 2 years ago. He yelled at Ray McLeod a couple years ago too, of like, you need to be here. Like, this is where I'm going with the football. And I think for Purdy now being paid $53 million a year, I think the expectation is set, yes, for a big season, but also for him off the field being that leader of like, no. I got to make sure the offense is in order as much as Kyle does behind me as the head coach, of like, I'm now the leader of this offense. If I already wasn't, now I'm paid to be the leader of the offense. And I got to make sure we're set, because if one of these guys go down, I need receiver 4, 5, and 6 to know where they have to be as well. And with all the injuries they have, to have Pearsall be out there with Brock Purdy throughout almost the entirety of training camp and the offseason, it certainly showed today that we should expect something a lot bigger and better from Pearsall in year number 2.
Yeah, what you were referencing there, what Pearsall said to Purdy about, like, make sure you're getting on me with my routes and all that. This, I think, is Purdy's perspective of that same conversation. This is also Brock Purdy post-game today, talking about how there's always that open line of communication with him and Ricky Pearsall. Here's Purdy post-game.
Yeah, I thought it was just like open communication 24/7. Like I said before, like after reps and practice, Ricky comes up to me and he's like, "Hey man, I ran this route because I got this look or this leverage and this is what I was trying to do." And then I'll tell him like, "Hey, I need you here," or "That was good, keep working that. I'll get back to you after I watch the film." It's like we're just always talking, man. And he loves football. I love football. And so when you got two guys that are willing to put in the extra work and explain, what we're trying to get out of a play and reps, I think great things can happen from that. So we watched a lot of stuff from last year too, and understanding like where we both need to be better when, obviously I'm throwing to them. And I think we honed in on some things this year in camp and then in the game, man. We just go out there, and I feel like it's pretty natural, just both of us, our chemistry and everything. So, but it was one preseason game, so we just got to keep doing it and keep our heads down and keep working hard together.
I mean, Sterling, were you also in the press room at Allegiant Stadium? Because that's almost exactly word for word what you said.
You know, Mark, I have this ability to almost transcend our natural realm of reality and be in Vegas. And also, and to be fair, I am a lot closer to Las Vegas than you are. So you never know.
Yeah.
I'm out here in Hesperia, California. It's 105 degrees. It's basically Las Vegas right now. But no, I was not in Las Vegas in the press conference. But just maybe a little intertwined in what Brock and Ricky Pearsall may be thinking on a daily basis now.
Yeah, it's not just a two-man connection with Purdy and Pearsall. It's a three-man connection. Throw Sterling in there. He knows how this thing works. This is the ultimate third
wheel. It's Brock and Pearsall. I'm in the corner like, hey guys, how's it going?
Just a fly on the wall, just observing. All right, that's all good news because with all the issues to Niners wide receivers and there's drama about Juwan and the calf injury.
Do you think he's actually hurt?
I think it's a little of both. His calf isn't feeling 100%, but if this was a regular season game and he did not have a contract dispute, he'd be playing, is how I view it. But, you're looking for money and you have a little nagging injury. Yeah, lean into it. I think it's only natural. If he was happy with his contract, maybe he wouldn't be playing in preseason games, but I think he'd be practicing, I think.
See, I think he's actually injured.
Oh.
And I think and to be fair, I am not a fly in the wall in Juwan Jennings meetings with the doctor. so
only Pearsall and Purdy, that's it.
Yeah, those are the only two guys. I may be completely wrong here, but I don't know. He had the injury last year, then he had it in OTAs to begin this year as well, then he got back, and Juwan's doing right by the team and everything, then all of a sudden he gets hurt again and hasn't practiced since. I don't think that's an indication of the contracts, dispute becoming larger or bigger than life. I think that is, hey, I have a calf injury and we are concerned that if I continue to practice, one, I'm not going to get paid, but two, I can't play either. So maybe it's a little bit of both, but I do think the injury might be more severe than some may think. But I hope I'm wrong. I'm hoping this is all a ploy of just pay me what I'm owed. But I do think he actually is injured.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. Again, we're 22 days away from week 1. Cut down day is 10 days from now. The Niners' decision in their wide receiver room might tell us a little bit how they feel about the whole Juwan Jennings situation. If they feel like the injury is more severe, maybe they keep an extra wide receiver on their roster. We will see. And that cut down day is coming up in 10 days, so that will give us a little bit of information. What maybe is one of the more interesting position groups, maybe the most interesting position group, maybe a couple of groups, for cut down day, Sterling, is defensive backs. It's corners and safeties. Because you have, right now, if Renardo Green, you hope that he's back before week 1, and that seems likely, and he's going to be a starter opposite Diamador Lenore. But let's just say right now, let's include Renardo Green as a question mark. You have a corner spot opposite Diamador Lenore. You have the nickel corner spot. You feel good about your two options, but that's still up for grabs. And you have both safety spots. Jason Pinnock is probably likely going to be a safety starting week number 1 because Malik Mustafa is going to be missed maybe 6, 7, 8 weeks. We will see. You at least have one safety spot. You might have two safety spots, and you have a nickel spot and maybe another corner spot. You have question marks at all spots other than Diamador Lenore, Sterling. This is going to be really intriguing to see how it plays out. And as it relates to one of those safety spots, Marquise Siegel, rookie out of Kansas State, I thought he had himself another positive day today, and maybe he's taking a step towards being a week 1 starter as a 5th-round rookie.
Yeah, that's the only position that I think I have a question mark on. I think Siegel has outperformed Jair Brown in a big way. Although Jair Brown, I think, had a pretty solid day today.
It did not start well.
It didn't, but to be fair, that wasn't the worst coverage in the world. That was okay coverage against, which the Raiders broadcast called Brock Bowers the best tight end in football. And to that I said, okay, going back to San Francisco's broadcast. We're not doing this. But it was a great play by...
Good coverage. He was in the right spot.
Yes.
Generally, it's a bad thing when the ball gets there and you fall down.
Yeah. I can't defend him
Just
there.
stay upright and knock it away, my guy.
Make a play on the ball, please. But I also would say that I don't think there are that many question marks in the secondary. Now, assuming that, let's say Renardo Green misses week 1. Let's say Mustafa misses week 1. Those 2 guys are out. You have Lenore. I think Upton Stout has already won that nickelback job despite how good Chase Lucas has been the first 2 preseason games. And I think Dallas Flowers has already locked down the opposing or the opposite outside cornerback job of Lenore. And Pinnock's already going to be your strong safety. So I think free safety might be the only open spot. There's a competition currently because once Green comes back, Flowers slots back down to the outside other cornerback, the third guy, and then you have Chase Lucas, and you probably keep either a Siren Neal or a Trey Brown, but I only think free safety is the open spot right now, and I wouldn't be shocked to watch Marquis Siegel win that job.
So you feel good enough about Dallas Flowers that if Renardo Green is to miss time...
I didn't say that. I did not say that.
Maybe you don't feel good enough about him, but you feel like he has separated himself from the other options. He would be the guy that they start opposite Lenore on the outside if Renardo Green were to miss time.
Yeah, and look, there's contextual reasons why, right? He tore, I think, his Achilles. I think that was the injury he had a couple years ago with the Colts. Gus Bradley is his former defensive coordinator. Now, they're now both in San Francisco, having a pretty good camp thus far. He has, like Chase Lucas, kind of surpassed Trey Brown on the depth chart, and I think overall has made a good enough impression to earn that outside cornerback job if Renardo Green is not healthy come week 1. But I don't know if I feel good about it because last year we all were like, oh, who's Isaac Adam? How's that going to go? And he was terrible to begin the year, but which I would rather have Green and Lenore and Stout be out there. But I really am kind of honed in on free safety being the only open spot in the secondary right now.
Do you think Marquis Siegel has done enough? And again, a 5th-round rookie out of Kansas State. Do you think if the Niners had to make their decision right now, obviously things could change, if they had to announce starters for week 1 versus the Seahawks, which again is 22 days away, but let's pretend it was tomorrow, they had to announce starters, Malik Mustafa out, your options are Pinnock, who, let's just agree that he's going to get one of those spots, strong safety Pinnock. Your options to start alongside him are Jair Brown, Marquis Siegel, Neal, as you mentioned. I mean, Richie Grant's another name, but he's kind of fallen down.
Also hurt.
Yeah, and there's so many guys that are hurt. Do you feel like Marquis Siegel is a leader in the clubhouse at this point to start opposite Pinnock week 1?
I think so. I think the way he's played, especially against the run, would certainly separate him from Jair Brown, where Jair Brown, again, it's not been great. He was picked on all day in training camp a couple days ago. Not great, but I really think that Marquis Siegel, his run fits, the way he kind of covers ground in the box, makes him a more dynamic weapon than Jair Brown would. And I think you don't want to have Jair Brown and Jason Pinnock both on the field in coverage for you. I think you'd rather have Siegel matched up with either a Jair Brown or Jason Pinnock. But I also wouldn't be shocked if, let's say, Richie Grant comes back and they value the special team efforts of Siren Neal, who today had a pretty nice day in coverage, mind you. I wouldn't be shocked if Jair Brown gets traded. I don't know if I would do that. I think you want the depth knowing the injuries you have, and they already cut George Odom earlier in the offseason, but I think David Lombardi mentioned him going to the Jets maybe, going back to Steve Wilkes out there in New York as they try to rekindle or kind of restructure that defense too. So I don't know what that nets you, but Jair Brown is not having the camp you would have liked from a former 3rd-round pick coming off a really bad season last year. And you're seeing guys like Richie Grant and Marquis Siegel and Siren Neal, all those guys really outperform or at least equally perform like Jair Brown.
Yeah. Just to highlight, I think, one play where Siegel flashed the most. It was in the first half on 3rd down. A quick throw out to the flat to Genty, and he's one-on-one with Siegel. There is no one else within like 10 or 15 yards of the play. It is one-on-one, Ashton Genty versus Marquis Siegel. And you're talking about the freak of all freaks, Ashton Genty. I read the statistic earlier, and I couldn't believe I didn't know about it until now, but if you just took Ashton Genty's yards after contact last year, he still led the nation in yards. That was the most yards out of anybody. Just him,
that's crazy.
Yards after contact. So he breaks tackles on the regular. He would often break like 6 tackles in a single carry. That's how good he is. He's matched up one-on-one with Marquis Siegel, a 5th-round rookie, and Marquis Siegel,
tiny.
Yeah, he's not a big guy. Marquis Siegel says, all right, Ashton, bring it on. And he brings him down on third, I think it was like 3rd and 6 or 3rd and 7, brings them down to force 4th and 3 and a field goal attempt. Those are the kinds of plays that fire up this Niner coaching staff. They fire up Robert Saleh. They fire up Kyle Shanahan. I guarantee you, whenever the Niners get their defensive back group together and they go through the tape, that will be one of the highlights that they play for the entire group, and they use to say that's what you're supposed to do in a one-on-one situation. So Marquise Siegel, I agree with you, is taking a big step towards potentially being a Week 1 starter. Okay, so that's the safety spot. At corner, Renardo Green expected to be back soon. Let's just pencil
Probably
him.
by this week, that's my assumption.
You would expect. So you would expect him to be a Week 1 starter in Seattle opposite Diamador Lenore. You feel good about nickel corner? I know you mentioned this earlier. Just want to confirm. You feel like Upton Stout is going to be the nickel, the third defensive back, the slot corner. You think he's going to get that job as a rookie starting Week 1?
Unless what they're doing in training camp means nothing, because he's getting, when healthy, all the first-team nickelback reps. I know he's hurt currently, so maybe that changes things, but I think they're going to walk into this year with Upton Stout and Chase Lucas as their 1-2 nickelbacks, and maybe Trey Brown floating in between. But I think the third-round pick out of Western Kentucky may have earned himself a job. There was so much hype on him after his first week of training camp, and I think when the pads came on, he just ascended higher up that depth chart after each and every practice.
Yeah, and he did not play today, dealing with that same calf injury that held him out of last week's game. This feels partially, Sterling, like what you're talking about. They feel good about him being their nickel corner, and he's got a mild calf thing. Doesn't seem to be a big deal. They're just going to hold him out to be extra cautious, because if they lose him, they don't feel nearly as good, despite Chase Lucas doing what he does. We already talked about linebackers. Obviously, Fred Warner. It feels pretty safe that D. Winters is going to start opposite Fred, and then it's the third linebacker spot when the Niners are in base defense, and it seems like Tatum Bethune might have a lead on that spot over someone like a Luke Gifford or a Nick Martin. We will see there. Then the question comes, Sterling, all right, let's just assume health on the defensive line. Let's assume Mykel Williams is healthy. Let's assume C.J. West is healthy. Let's assume, Kevin Givens is healthy, or maybe not. I mean, we don't have to. I don't know.
We can. Good. We can.
Who do you think is the starting 4 defensive lineman? Obviously, it's Nick Bosa on one side. Mykel, you think, is going to start opposite. I guess the question goes down to as simple as who's the 2 starting defensive tackles? Because those are the 2 biggest question marks, perhaps, on the entire defense right now.
Right now, I would say it's probably C.J. West is one of them. I think he has earned that job through training camp in his first preseason game before he got injured in joint practices on Thursday. I also am kind of pushing for Kalia Davis. He wasn't great today, which is unfortunate, but having the best camp of his entire career, which
he was really good Week 1
for him
versus the Broncos, too.
Right.
Yeah.
Maybe there is room for a player, if Kevin Givens is healthy, to be out there. I think they do want a veteran paired with a rookie. That way you have kind of a teacher and kind of apprentice approach to the defensive line on the interior. But I don't think we're going to see Alfred Collins out there to start the game against Seattle. I don't think you really can do that. Now, maybe on first and second down you do, but on third downs it changes, which maybe we can get into more of. But I really think C.J. West and Kevin Givens, if healthy, will be out there Week 1 against Seattle.
One thing that was good to see today, we got to see Bryce Huff. And he played like every down. I mean, it was only a drive, but because generally I think the way the Niners are going to use Bryce Huff is on passing downs. That's going to kick Mykel Williams to the inside because he has the ability to play outside and inside. It feels like in camp when he's been healthy, Sterling, he's been like dominant on the inside and he's been all right on the outside. He's been really good on the inside. So maybe that is a way that they can move, get less snaps for someone like an Alfred Collins or a Kalia Davis or even a C.J. West. They can move Mykel Williams inside, have Bryce Huff play on the outside, and that, if you get what the Niners seem to be getting from Mykel Williams on the inside, you have Bosa and Bryce Huff on the outside. That feels like the makings of what could be like a pretty good pass rushing unit on passing downs. Bryce Huff, Nick Bosa, Mykel Williams, and whoever else it might be on the inside, whether it's C.J. West or Kalia Davis or Kevin Givens or Alfred Collins. Again, that's only passing downs specifically when Bryce Huff comes in, I would imagine. but that feels like a pretty good foursome for those moments.
The worst thing about all the injuries we've seen is that we have yet to see, and probably will not see, this Niners defensive line completely healthy with all their rookies on the field together before week 1 of the NFL season. And we may not see them together much in the regular season, depending on how they mix and match their guys and rotate their guys in and out. But that to me is one of the biggest disservices the injuries are given to San Francisco, is not being able to see this defensive unit together, fully healthy, kind of all systems go, because I want to see Michael play the inside, because you can't really assess where San Francisco's pass rush is.
Yep.
You obviously love Bosa. You love what Bryce Huff can give you on third down. The bend he has is very D Ford-esque, but you can't assess where they're at, which is unfortunate, because I think as fans, we're all like, we want to see these new, young, exciting players, and we just can't because these darn injuries keep holding them out.
Yep. We're only 22 days from week 1 in Seattle. I'm looking forward to it, Sterling. What do you think is like the one thing, like the most needed thing the Niners need to see or find out in the next 22 days before they kick things off? Like, what is question number 1? What is the thing that might be holding this team back that we don't have an answer to yet?
I think the one, I don't want to say concern I have, but the one thing I've yet to see, and a lot of it stems from, which now we might not see until, again, week 1 of the regular season because Pooney's out, this offense has yet to establish the run.
Yep.
And I think that is, to me, while you get Trent back out there, you have guys run behind him, it changes the entirety of the outcome of the game. And what the offense can do. You haven't seen Christian McCaffrey, so obviously you're seeing Corey Kiner and Patrick Taylor and Keyshawn Vaughn and guys like that, which is a far cry from Christian McCaffrey. I think I want to see the offense establish the run against Los Angeles next weekend.
Yeah.
That is the one thing I need to see from this offense.
Just get running backs healthy too, and then also offensive line run block a little bit. It's odd. The Niners have been a better pass blocking team so far in the preseason than a run blocking team. Normally, it's the other way around.
I think they're going to be a better passing offense than a rushing offense this year too.
Interesting. That's a little bit of a hot take there because you got Christian McCaffrey on this team.
Wow. Dude, that's why you're here. That's why you're here for the hot takes.
and that's why McCaffrey's here. Make the most out of nothing, Christian, because you might have to at times this year. That's all the time we got for you today. Thanks so much for tuning in. Niners win in a thrilling preseason game. Lots of positives, some concerns, as always in the preseason. Sterling, it was a ton of fun, and I'm looking forward to the next time.
I cannot tell you how happy I am to be back, Mark, for year 3, the Grandy and Bennett show. Let's hope it's better outcome than last year, but I'm happy to be back with you for the next 18-plus weeks, maybe a postseason run, fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed.
Glad to be back.
Yeah, looking forward to it. That should be a ton of fun. For Sterling, for my guy Steven behind the glass, shout out to Risotto for making us sound good. I'm Mark Randy signing off. We'll be back. We got more overtime all year long right here on 95.7 The Game.
He sees things others don't see.
Purdy just executes what he's asked to execute at a really high level.
He spends hours and hours in the film room to find the nuggets.
He has way better mobility than people might think, and we've seen that a number of times, but he just knows how to play the position innately.
He's Greg Cosell from NFL Films, and he's on every Wednesday with Willard and Dibs.
Greg freaking Cosell right there.
We are the Bay Area's football station, 95.7 The Game.
Ain't nothing gonna break my stride. Nobody gonna slow me down.
Don't let pneumococcal pneumonia break your stride. If you're 50 or older, you're at increased risk. So be proactive with Capvaxive pneumococcal 21-valent conjugate vaccine to help protect against invasive pneumococcal disease and pneumonia caused by certain types of pneumococcal bacteria. Capvaxive helps protect against the strains of bacteria that cause about 30% more IPD cases than any other pneumococcal conjugate vaccine in adults over 50, according to national-level CDC stats. Regional variations may exist. Don't get Capvaxive if you're allergic to the vaccine or its ingredients. Tell your doctor if you have a weakened immune system. Common side effects include injection site reactions, feeling tired, headache, muscle aches, and fever. Capvaxive does not protect against all strains. For more information, call 1-800-927-8888 or visit capvaxive.com. Ask your doctor or pharmacist about Capvaxive. Need help paying for your Merck vaccine? Visit merckhelps.com. Sponsored by Merck.
A strong heart, a steady stride, a life full of milestones.
El Camino Health is here for you. From advanced heart and vascular care that keeps you on beat, to expert orthopedic treatments that keep you moving, and innovative cancer care that fights alongside you, with expert care for women, men, and new moms, supporting you through every chapter of your health, because every life we touch is built on trust and compassion. El Camino Health, our strength, your health.
This is the story of the one. As a lineman, he does whatever it takes to keep the power on in his community. And he wants a partner like Grainger who does the same. Grainger offers the professional-grade products he needs, from voltage detectors to harnesses to hard hats, plus fast, dependable delivery, so he can rise to every challenge. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm, and Chuck McDowell definitely not an attorney. This is Chuck. If someone talked you into buying something really silly and you want to get out of that silly little thing, my advice, get the facts. Call me and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit absolutely free. Inside, you'll learn how timeshare works and all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free timeshare exit information kit. 800-311-9595. That's 800-311-9595.